get scared by a bear in the neighborhood. Call Joe Murray.
I happen to trust Joe Murray.
First time I ever met Joe Murray was at a
Welcome in 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. Full show tonight here until 11 o'clock. We got you all night long, baby. All night long. That's right, all night long. Do a little hockey, a little baseball. I got a little football note in there for you today. We got in or out. We got musings. We have guest Steve Buchanan from DraftKings is going to join us. Matt Dolloff from 98.5 The Sports Hub will join us later. A buffet of topics. And it is an open bar for you at 617-779-0985. And, of course, our opening take is presented by Super Service Today, Massachusetts' #1 provider for residential and commercial plumbing, heating, cooling, and drain cleaning. Day or night, always done right. Visit superservicetoday.com. You can join us on YouTube, everybody. Our friends are already in there tonight. Got people watching and are ready to go. So, opening thought, opening take, I am happy for Brad Marchand. I was very hard on him this year. I didn't think he was a captain. I thought he was almost washed. I thought some of the issues in the locker room may have been him or him calling out people in the locker room. However you look at it, in the end, it was best for both sides. It was best for both sides for Brad Marchand to go elsewhere and the Bruins to get a first-round pick. And that's exactly what happened. Brad Marchand bet on himself and won. He's going to win. Brad Marchand had an offer with the Bruins, turned it down, and the offer was higher than I thought he was ever worth. He was just making under $7 million. He had a deal on the table with the Bees for $7 million plus, and I said no. Well, he's going to get paid now. He ended up in the best situation possible, going to Florida, who was trying to win back-to-back. You know, they needed to reload. And I brought this up with some of the other teams this year. The Dodgers won. They reloaded this offseason. The Celtics didn't reload, who won a championship a year ago and got bounced in the second round. Right, a lot of these teams that go back-to-back, the Chiefs, right, did they make a lot of huge upgrades? No. So it's hard to go back-to-back, and sometimes you need a catalyst, and I think Brad Marchand was that for Florida. The other thing is they had a really steady goalie in Sergei Bob, but their biggest question mark was health heading into the playoffs. Some of us thought that Marchand wouldn't even play. You know, Tkachuk got hurt in the Four Nations face-off. Marchand himself injured at the time. A lot of people questioned if they would be right. Marchand was the spark they needed to win back-to-back. He challenged the team to increase their goal scoring, and they sure did. They dominated the first periods of the Stanley Cup Finals 7-0. They won in those first periods. He had game winners. They almost went down 3-0 to the Leafs. Game winner. Scored twice against Toronto in a closeout. Scored the overtime winner in Game 2 of the final. Had another great game in Game 5, and he just missed out on the Conn Smythe. We got plenty of votes. Sam Bennett ultimately was your Conn Smythe winner. But one thing that Brad Marchand has clout over in Boston and his former teammates, Brad Marchand's a 2-time Stanley Cup champion. Not Chara, not Bergeron, not Rask, not Krejci, none of those guys. They all failed to win multiple championships. But what happened after that? And with all those guys, Chara wanted to stay here. He was told that he was too old. He had to go somewhere else. Bergeron took less money year after year and came back for, $1 million plus incentives. Rask was the fall guy whenever they lost. But Marchand, he bet on himself. Yeah, the team wasn't as good as maybe when those guys were here. But he bet on himself. He won. He's about to get paid. And it was funny last night watching, again, the Stanley Cup, the best trophy in all of sports, the best award in sports. You notice that there were a lot of former Bruins last night raising the cup. Nosek, Greer, Boquist. On their coaching staff, they have Gregory Campbell, Rob Tallis, Sean Thornton, just to name a few Stanley Cup winners from a year ago or from this year. It's just, I was happy for everybody. I think Florida, although I don't love hockey or Florida dominating hockey these days, I ended up rooting for the group. Yeah, they're a bunch of rats. Yeah, their coach sometimes I don't like. I almost respect Sergei Bobrovsky and who he is. Kachuk played with, a hernia and his labrum hanging off his shoulder. But the more you look at it, Panthers back-to-back. The story outside of Brad Marchand, though, and the Panthers winning, is Connor McDavid losing again. He got the support offensively with his teammates. They didn't have a goaltender. Once again, Edmonton didn't have the goaltender. And the difference in the series was, Sergei Bob. It was. And I think Edmonton and McDavid need to think about a change. I don't know if it's McDavid with a year to go. If he signs an extension and wants to stay there, could Edmonton get a haul and try to start over? Do they try to go and get a goaltender? Again, the story to me is the Panthers winning back-to-back and Brad Marchand, one of their biggest nemesis, coming in and helping them win. That's a story, and maybe there's a dynasty there going. I don't know. But back-to-back rematches, McDavid, and failures without another championship, that's a storyline to watch in the NHL. But as for the Bruins, just to bring this all around one more time, we were talking about this last night. I've been thinking about it a little bit more. If you think about who the Bruins have given up on, right? Joe Thornton was traded. It was a bad trade, but he never won a championship. He never won. Phil Kessel, also another guy that won 3 championships. Won one in Vegas at the end of his career. And now Brad Marchand, who was traded away, has 2. I mentioned all those other players. Hey, Tyler Seguin at least won here. They still traded his ass after. So I get him, at least he won here. But do players leave Boston and win? Did I mention Bruce Cassidy? Did I mention it? I know Montgomery got bounced this year, but I don't know. Could the Blues go on a little bit of a run? Players leave Boston and win. It's exactly what Brad Marchand did here. And coming up here on the other side, I think last night Brad Marchand did something that's personally cemented his Hall of Fame legacy. This guy's going to put up some numbers. 500 goals, 1,000 points. It's going to happen. Winning 2 championships, that cements your legacy. Brad Marchand was probably a Hall of Famer before last night. I think he absolutely cemented it with his second Stanley Cup. We'll leave it there at 617-779-0985. We're here all night till 11 o'clock. Everything's on the table. We'll react to the Red Sox win tonight as well. We got in or out. We got the musings. We got guests. Skaz is here. Intern Luke. I'm Joe Murray. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Support a fantastic cause and enjoy a round of
take back to early April, trade deadline day. Your whole situation with the Boston Bruins goes down. What were you thinking? How did you handle it? I mean, overtly you seemed okay professionally. How tough was it, though, going from the only team you knew in your career to this organization at the time?
It was really difficult. It was really difficult. I had a really tough time letting go of Boston. It was crushing. But it was sometimes things like that happen, and it's crazy how it worked out. There's a couple of things that went on. I was not supposed to be here, things fell through, and I ended up here. And again, sometimes it just works out perfectly, and that's one of those situations where it worked out perfectly.
Last night, 98.5 The Sports Hub broadcasted the entire Stanley Cup Final, 6 games, so we're done now. We're going to be here every night with you guys. So no more midnight shifts, guys, which we're all very happy about. We're also very happy for Brad Marchand, who got his second Stanley Cup championship. Not many others have done that, at least in this town. Not Chara, not Bergeron, not Rask. But all the guys they gave up on, though. Now, Thornton's won. I'll give you that. He tried. They tried to get him one. Great player. But Kessel getting 3. Another guy that they gave up on. Didn't want around. And they moved on from Marchand. Say whatever you want. They got a first-round pick. He wasn't going to be a part of the future, all that. It worked out for both sides. That's the one thing I wanted to bring up. He did an interview with Jamie Redmond and basically just put over the Panthers and how great they were, and he fit right in. He didn't really talk about himself. But when Billy Jaffe got a hold of him, the Jaff man, he said it was really tough to let go. I don't think he wanted to leave. I don't think he ever wanted to leave Boston. I truly do. He said he wasn't supposed to be here. Again, not trying to use the line from Clerks when you not even supposed to be here today. But what did he mean by that? Not supposed to be here. Some things fell through. Things fell through? So I have friends out in Palm Beach. I have friends out there right now in Florida, and I'm not bothering them today because they've been partying it up for 2 straight days now. And they're still partying it up. Did I say Jackie Redmond? She's also on WWE and does a fantastic job. But not supposed to be here, what he meant, but what did he mean by that? And things fell through. What was the plan? What did Marchand want? What was supposed to happen? I can't wait for those to come out. Hopefully other people heard that interview. We heard it last night because we were working the game, but thought that was very interesting. Now, Brad Marchand, dude's a Hall of Famer. The Bruins traded a Hall of Famer. I think he was a Hall of Famer before last night, but you get 2 now? Ooh, baby. Remember that clutch goal in overtime at Game 3 of the second round? I told you, they were on the brink of being down 3-0 to Toronto. But it was Brad Marchand that rescued the team. He then scored a goal and 2 assists in a Game 7. They hate him. Oh, it was great. Brad Marchand finished the playoffs with 20 points, 10 goals, and 10 assists. He played 23 games. His 158 career points in the playoffs are second most of any player since he debuted in 2009. Only 3 players in the history of the sport have more postseasons with 10-plus points than Marchand. Do you know who those players are? Wayne Gretzky, Mark Messier, and John Beliveau. Just think of that. Add Brad Marchand to that list. His 66 playoff goals over that span are second most to any player. His 16 game-winning goals in the playoffs are the most since 2009. Now, he won his first Stanley Cup with the Bruins in 11. And in that series, he scored twice in that Game 7 victory in Vancouver. He had 6 goals this series. He had 5 goals in that series. You could make the argument that Brad Marchand was the best player in the 2025 Stanley Cup Final. He scored in 4 of the 6 games. He had the game winner in overtime of Game 2. He had a 2-goal performance in Game 5. He's just the second player since 1968 to score 5+ goals in multiple Cup Final series. He's got amazing regular season stats if you really want to get into it. 980 career points. 12th most since he entered the league in 2009. The 11 players that are ahead of him will all be Hall of Famers. Alex Ovechkin, he's pretty good, right? How about Steven Stamkos or Sidney Crosby or Patrick Kane? Marchand has 424 goals since entering the league. He has 36 shorthanded goals. They're 14 more than any other player since 2009. He ranks number 1 with 21 overtime goals in that period. He's 37 years old. He's probably going to get a 3 or 4 year deal, and he'll hit 1,000 career points next year. Do you think he'll get 500 goals? I'm not going to doubt this guy anymore. All I can tell you is 2 cups, those type of numbers, Hall of Fame, first ballot. Not bad for a guy that was a scrappy little fourth liner, huh? Then over his career, he had to play with Bergeron. It elevated his game. As he's dealt with injuries and getting older, he knows the little things that you have to do being a third liner, because those are the things you have to do when you're that type of scrappy player. I brought up all those former Bruins that were all guys that were probably playing on the second and third line when they all shouldn't have, right? Greer, Nosek, like all those guys. Florida needed them because they had so many injuries this year. There was a question mark if any of those guys were going to be ready for the playoffs. People doubted Florida all year long. Now, don't forget, people also doubted Brad Marchand. I am one of them. I take the L. But there's no doubt about it. Brad Marchand, first ballot Hall of Famer. We'll leave it there at 617-779-0985. You also wanted to mention a couple of more guys for the Panthers that probably will go to the Hall. Sergei Bobrovsky, I think, locked it up. What's he have? 2 Vezinas and 1 a Stanley Cup? Multiples. I think he locked it up. I think Kachuk's going to be a Hall of Famer. I mean, his dad's not, which is a joke. Skaz, you mentioned Barkov. I mean, he's an elite talent. He's now won multiple championships. I probably would put him on that list, and I would even put probably Paul Maurice on that list. So, is it a dynasty? I don't know, but you know what? I'll tell you guys, people want to play in Florida. And I'm almost wondering if it's I'm just going to bring it up. People don't love the taxes, right? People don't love it. You play for Tampa Bay, you play for the Florida Panthers, you got a chance to win and make some money. Marchand was asked last night, what do you think about coming back? Do you think he comes back, Skaz? And is there anybody I'm missing on the Hall of Fame list here?
I mean, I'm sure there's other guys that, if Bennett continues to have the career he's having, Reinhart, like there's other guys. But yeah, I think Barkov is a lock, 3-time Selke winner, 2-time Cup winner. He's their captain. I don't see how he doesn't get in. Bobrovsky, I'm with you. Marchand, obviously. Kachuk's on his way. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of guys who are cementing legacies down there in Florida. I don't know. I don't think Marchand's going to be back with the Panthers. From all the reports we hear, he wants the money. He wants the bag. I don't fault him. It's the last time he'll get it, in his career. So he could end up in Utah, Joe, for $8 million, $8.5 million.
Oh, 8.5. Oh, yeah.
So, I'm not saying, that's where he's going, but just I don't think he's going back to Florida, and he's not coming to Boston.
Thank you. Just wanted to mention that. How about this, guys? This from the Joe Murray research team. Former Boston sports personalities who won a championship within a year of departing. Remember Mike Sullivan? Penguins won it the next year. Now I know. He played with Sidney Crosby. I get it. He coached him. How about Tom Brady? Leaves in 19. How about I'm just going to go win the Super Bowl with the Bucks, the worst team in franchise in football? How about Mookie Betts? I mentioned Bruce Cassidy as well. Oh, now Brad Marchand, and should we add Rafael Devers TBD, or is that
The Giants aren't winning.
just TBD?
How about Ray Allen?
Yes, left the Celtics and made the right choice. Bet on himself, right? By the way, when they all meet, right? Everybody hates Ray Allen. All those guys. Suppose they allegedly all hated him.
Not anymore. Yeah, it's over.
Well, you know what Ray has, right?
He's got two.
So when they give him crap, he can just go like this.
He's still the third best player out of the three of them. So
People will probably say that about Marchand when it comes to Bergeron, Chara, or even Rask.
Conn Smythe would have helped. 2 rings, though, Joe. Phil Kessel's got 3.
I mean, hey, listen, Phil Kessel might be the last guy picked, and everyone thinks he sucks, but guess what? He won one with Vegas. Left the Bruins, and won with Pittsburgh. Now, Joe Thornton. I still love Joe Thornton, man. Oh, poor. Hey, Thornton McDavid, huh?
McDavid's a way better player.
Way. He's got a. They got. What would you do if you were McDavid?
Ask out.
What would be the alternative for him?
Maybe the Oilers trade for Swayman. I've seen that floated around today on the Boston Twitter sphere.
They need a goalie.
They need a goalie.
No, they can't mess around. They can't. I don't know who's available. No, they need a Sergei Bobrovsky. Because this year, you can say what you want about Florida. Bobrovsky was solid. And I know
He was great.
They could lean on him because they had so many injuries. Is Bobrovsky the reason why the Panthers won the championship?
I don't think you can call him the reason because that team is so loaded, so deep. Everybody scores.
Give me the last team that you can really look at the goalie and say, that's why. Vasilevsky?
Those teams were stacked too, though. I do think Vasilevsky was incredible. He's another Hall of Famer.
Binnington?
Binnington's a good one. And that was because you choked, too.
I was going to say Tim Thomas, but would you say that team was loaded? They had Hall of Famers.
Yeah, but they were the Bruins, Joe, so I would say it was Tim Thomas because he had historically maybe the greatest, playoff run of all time. And you've seen the Bruins who were full of chokers and blame, the goalie every year. But
Rask the fall guy no matter what.
Yeah, the only way Bergeron, Krejci, and Chara could win a cup is if they had the greatest goaltending in playoff history. But they don't deserve any blame. Zero blame.
None. Marchand deserved blame in 18, didn't he?
Yeah, bad line change there. Was that 19? Yeah, bad line change.
Redemption, huh?
Yeah, maybe Edmonton calls up St. Louis, says Jordan Binnington kind of stinks in the regular season, but could use him in the playoffs.
Where I'm going with this is, with the way the Bruins are made, defense, heavy, how much, what do they have, half their salary cap on the defense and goaltending? Do you need the expensive goaltender to win in the league?
Well, that's the thing with Edmonton is they're giving how much of their salary cap to 2 guys, to McDavid and Draisaitl, and then people say the rest of the roster they can't fill out with the talent necessary. But I still think it's a goalie thing. Their goalies stink.
Skinner $3 million a year.
He's worth about 1.
They gotta improve that. But you agree, Brad Marchand first ballot?
Yeah, no doubt.
No doubt.
No doubt about it.
Those playoff numbers, they mean something. Listen, I don't want to cross sports, okay? Because we're allowed to do that. In hockey, it's different, right? When Brad Marchand had 5 goals in 2 Stanley Cup Finals against Vancouver, who was arguably better than them, and maybe Edmonton, who was arguably better than them. This guy was this scrappy 4th liner who took a reduced role and knew exactly what to do. I was wrong. And maybe there are guys that are in bad situations. Like, let's just go back in history. Randy Moss was in a bad situation with the Raiders at the time. Like, there were just guys that when teams got them. Corey Dillon was in a bad situation with the Bengals.
Well, I think you see it in hockey a lot too, where guys stick around too long. Like, I don't think Iginla ever won one, right?
Never won one.
He tried to with Pittsburgh, tried to with the Bruins.
But, and this was another thing I was going to bring up. There are Ray Bourque stuck with the Bruins for too long. Finally asked for the trade, went to Colorado. They won. Patrick Waugh left Montreal.
Like Garnett in Minnesota. Like, it happens in some of those markets.
Dominic Hasek had to leave to go to Detroit to help them. Pronger, remember, went to Anaheim. Gaborik, I mentioned him the other night for the Kings in 2014. Ryan O'Reilly. I don't think they win.
Quite a few cup winners on that Buffalo team. That's got to hurt if you're a Sabres fan. Quite a few guys gone on to have pretty good careers.
Add Brad Marchand to the list. Guys that were traded midseason that helped them win a championship. 617-779-0985. All right, I get it. Everyone's like, all right, enough. Hockey season's over. And we'll be doing breakdowns. We'll talk to Matt Dolloff later tonight, get his thoughts on Marchand. But let's talk to the people. You've heard from us. Let's hear from you. And we have John on the line. What's up, John? Hello. Hello. Justin's in Lynn. Justin.
Hey, Joe.
Hey.
I want to talk about the Red Sox being in a wild card spot. They jumped into the third wild card spot, and they pitched really well. They're starting to play good defense. All the things are happening with the Red Sox right now. And just a quick thought on Marchand. I'm really happy for Brad Marchand winning his second cup with the Panthers. I'm really happy for him. And I think he's going to retire after this year.
Whoa, retirement?
Yes.
Man, I'm not going to leave that money on the table, Justin.
Joe, I just feel like this is why I feel this way. And let me explain, Joe. I feel this way because he's had 2 double hip surgeries, and I feel this way. I just feel this way a lot.
All right.
I'm sorry, Joe.
No, don't be sorry, man. I would not leave $30 million on the table. I would do a lot for $30 million. I would not leave $30 million on the table. 2 rings doesn't mean $30 million. What do you think? 8 times 3? 8 times 4? 8.5 times 3? $30 million. Who leaves that on the table? Actually, I'd be pissed if Marchand retired. I'd be pissed for him. He bet on himself and then he retires? Out.
I mean, I'm not going to be pissed at a guy for retiring after going out on top, but yeah, he could easily make, $20+ million on his next contract. Whether I even if it's 8.5 for 2 or something, he's close to 20. So yeah, I mean, I don't think he's walking away.
I'd be pissed if he left. I'm just going to retire. No, you could give me the money. I would let him. These guys, I do a lot for $30 million.
I think Marchand wants in on the Olympics next year, too.
Everybody wants it on the Olympics. So they play the best hockey there. It's for their country's guess.
Yeah, him and McDavid can be teammates.
Oh.
Maybe they'll have a real goalie. It'll probably be Pennington.
Maybe they'll bring the cup with them. Ooh, that would really piss him off. Danny is in Randolph. Hey, Danny.
Hey. No, how's it going?
I'm all right. How are you?
Pretty good. It's Danny from North Randolph. I just want to talk about Red Sox ownership. Not going to do any shouts to get cut off. Red Sox don't care. Marchand, he did bet on himself. I agree with you on that. And, it's just a stick in the face of Bruins ownership. But the Red Sox...
Yeah, Bruins. Bruins or Red Sox? Hello?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Bruins or Red Sox? Who are you talking about right now?
I'm talking about La Scala, and I'm talking about...
I'm getting trolled by North Randolph people. Okay, here's the deal.
Yeah, not a real place.
I'm from Hyde Park. So the kids from Randolph used to get their asses kicked by us. So now they're trying to have a divide of North versus South. I don't care where you're from, North or South, we kicked your ass. You guys got good pizza, and that's about it. And I go to your movie theater. And I used to like Rick's when I would drink before going to said movie theater. Besides that, the Linwood, that's all I got. So I don't care if you're North, South, don't care.
It's Randolph.
You're a pass-through town. People pass through your town.
Now you're going after the whole town, Joe?
Now you're a pass-through town that gets to 24. That's it. That's what you are. You have a movie theater, you have a Smoky Bones, and an Olive Garden.
There's a good Popeyes right across the street from that movie theater.
Oh, really? I haven't been over there.
That's about, I mean, I haven't been to Randolph in years, but I'm pretty sure it's still over there.
I'm sorry, though. Randolph, it's just a pass-through town. And I believe Leroy lives there now, so he's not going to be upset about this.
Would it be Leroy from Randolph or Leroy from North Randolph?
Leroy from Dorchester. I'm Joey from Hyde Park. That's just how it rolls.
He'd be in Randolph, not from Randolph.
Yes. You know, if I when people say, hey, I know you're a North Shore guy. No, I'm not. I live there. I'm not a North Shore guy. I am not a reporter. North Randolph doesn't exist. It's just a pass-through town.
Taking shots.
Speaking of taking shots. A lot of shots by Devers, Breslow. AI's even involved. A lot going on today. But, hey, the Red Sox won again. And we'll tell you what the score was in headlines.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Well, someone gave a Smoky Bones shout out. There is a good Coles over there as well.
Solak and Bertrand get you through the midday. Joe Murray gets you right through the night.
I actually spoke with women today.
On the Sports Hub.
Marcelo Meyer will lead things off against Castillo. Then Story and then Hamilton. Swinging a high fly ball right field. Backing up Mastroboni, and see you later. Marcelo Meyer with his 4th home run, and the Red Sox get on the scoreboard here in the 2nd inning. Home run number 4 for the youngster. Seems like his pattern, Will, is when he does hit them, they are gone instantaneously.
Yeah, that was way back. Little ambush piece, first pitch, fastball, middle. My goodness, that ball was hammered.
2-0 win the other night's 5.
5 in the series, I think, right?
5.
And they only scored 8 against the Yankees.
So 8 plus 5 would be 13.
13 runs in 6 games.
And that was, so 6 divided by 13 would be 2. 2 times 6 plus 12. So they're averaging like 2.1 runs a game. Joe Math?
Not exactly, an offensive juggernaut right now, but the pitching's good, Joe.
Yeah, let's stick to the hitting for a second. Let's just keep it there. 1 second.
Could really use a bat in the middle of the order right now, huh?
What? You don't think Trevor Story's the bat?
No, I don't.
Because he did hit a 2-run homer today.
Yeah, he's been good for, 3 weeks.
Is he heating up?
Yeah, I don't think the Boston Red Sox should be a team that's relying on Trevor Story to be their offensive, superpower.
Some may think I'm being cheeky right now. But if they have a bad pitching performance, they're going to lose. Fair to say? 90%? 90% chance?
50-50, yes. Joe.
Oh, I love the 50. Yes. Whenever we can pull the lever on a 50-50, yes, I am in. Trevor Story, 3rd home run against a fastball this month. Hit a home run off some gas.
Woo.
He did not have a home run against a fastball prior to the start of this month. Wonder what's changed there.
He's getting healthy.
Is that what it is? So you don't consider him middle of the lineup bat?
I think for the Red Sox he probably is, but I think in a good lineup, he's not your 3 or 4 hitter.
So what are they right now? 9-?
They're 8-2 in their last 10.
Well, they won today, right? So that would be 9-1. Their last 10.
From maybe MLB's not updated, but right now I'm seeing 8-2 in their last 10.
That's good. That's pretty good, right?
Good.
So the pitching has carried them. The offense is batting .233 right now, Skaz.
Not ideal.
OBP 15th, slugging 15th, OPS 14th, strikeout rate 26th instead of 30th. That's improved. Ground ball rate, 3rd highest. So there we go. They need some offense. When? Can they continue to win this way? I don't think so. We'll get into Garrett Crochet's day coming up in a little bit. But on the other side, a couple of weeks ago, Dan Shaughnessy wrote an article about, we're in the doomsday of Boston sports. I wanted to just kind of retouch on that article. Because tomorrow, the NBA final could happen, Sky. It could be over. And then where are we? And in the city of Boston? Or Boston sports? We'll get into that coming up on the other side. I'm Joe Murray. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Rafael Devers. Ahead of the count, 2-0. The pitch. And he drives one out towards right center field. Into the gap. It's going to go to the wall. Adames coming around third. And he's going to round third. He'll score into second with a double. Devers has his first Giants hit. And it drives in a run to put the Giants ahead 2-1. And he just smoked it. Man, what a cool moment for Rafael Devers. Obliterated that ball. 111 off the bat into the gap in right center field. It went all the way into the triangle.
Anyways, Rafael Devers got a couple of hits yesterday in his debut. And, tomorrow, Oklahoma City's probably going to win the championship. Oh, and by the way, over 5.5 games, everybody. Cash that slip, baby. Besides saying that SGA basically has been a terrible fourth quarter performer and doesn't get the hate that Jason Tatum does, and then broke the all-time record for most points in a fourth quarter, I feel like I've done pretty well with the NBA Finals, Cash.
Been all over it, Joe. One small.
I feel like we're going to be watching that now. What's going to happen to the Celtics? No Jason Tatum. No Jason Tatum. Do I have to say that again? No Jason Tatum. They're going to have to trade probably Drew Holiday and Hauser. Probably. Right? So, the Red Sox don't have hitting. Everybody plays for the West Coast team. Tatum's not playing. The Bruins, I don't even want to talk about it.
There's a lot riding on Drake May's shoulders this fall, Joe.
That's where I was going, Skess. Stephen A. had a take that we'll play later on.
Stephen A., and I know we've been defenders of Stephen A. is strong, but we've tried to give Stephen A. a fair shake. I think he has absolutely sucked over the last couple months.
You know what it is?
At his job.
It's the money.
He's brutal.
He got his payday, and now he's spewing.
He's insufferable. He's nothing of any merit. He's playing solitaire during the NBA Finals and then, bitching about it that he got caught. It's just own it, dude. You don't care. You're cashed out.
Oh, he cashed out. All right.
Big time.
Are the Boston sports fans going to cash out?
Ownership groups are, so I don't know. What's next, fans?
You're right. Henry, who knows what the hell's going on? The Celtics just cashed out. The Bruins at least are trying to reset, but they don't deserve a pass. And when it comes to the Patriots, they've been horrible for 5 years. And you know what they were doing? They were flexing on the old days, too. Bruins flexed on the old days. Red Sox have flexed on the old days. I mean, the Celtics can show you all the banners if they want.
Is there anything worse than the Bruins flexing on the old days, though? You've won cup in 50 years.
1 in 50.
Congrats.
And I gave you the list of players that have left and have won elsewhere. Are we in the dark times? Is this the dark times?
No.
So out on dark times.
Out on dark times. Celtics are still good. Bruins will be competitive.
What if Josh McDaniels ruins Drake May?
Then, Joe, we're in some serious trouble. If Drake May stinks, okay, we can have the conversation.
A lot. That's too much pressure.
That's a lot of pressure on second-year Drake May and Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels.
See, the thing is, when the Patriots won their first championship, it was out of nowhere, right? They had a bad season. Bledsoe got hurt. Brady came in. The Celtics went on that big run in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then they blew up the team. The Red Sox were always kind of knocking on the door. They had Manny. They had to go out and get Damon. They had to go out and, improve the team. But they got the right ownership, and they were determined to win. The Bruins were bad at that time. I think that's when they made the Thornton trade, right? Or just after that. But when the Patriots first won, it was out of nowhere. Then it was the Red Sox 04, 07, Patriots back-to-back. And it all happened. It was like they all had to compete against each other. Now I feel like they're all cashing in. people still, we've had some good runs. Why don't we just, cash it in for a couple of years? I really hope we're not at that point. And after tomorrow night when the NBA Finals ends.
It's time to get creative, Joe.
Oh, I'm going to be getting some songs of summer, baby. Hey, I got a request today. Did you see that?
I did see that. I'll have to help that gentleman out.
Somebody reached out to me and said, hey, can I get the MP3 of Joe Espresso? And I felt honored.
I think he's putting that in his running playlist or something, his working out playlist.
Do you think that we should have intern Luke take a picture of us, Skez, as the new Sabrina Carpenter cover?
Joe, you're going to have to get my consent on that, and I'm going to say no.
Who's getting down on their knees?
No, I can't. I got a bad back, Joe. I don't think I can recreate that. Yeah.
My knees.
Tough. Luke.
That would be the greatest cover.
Luke not signing off on that one.
No, you don't want to help out with that one, Luke? All right, let's get the headline here. I'm Joe Murray. No commercials. More on the Sox win today here on 98.5 The Sports Hub, and I'm out on AI.
From the Top Tier Tire Studios, 70 FM and HD1.
It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Paisley Media Group Station.
Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox 3-1 winners today on the bat of Marcelo Meyer and Trevor Story. Garrett Crochet got the win as well. They've won 9 out of their last 11. And they'll take on Rafael Devers and the Giants over the weekend. Brad Marchand is a Stanley Cup champion once again. His second of his career. Lakers sold for $10 billion today to Mark Walter, the owner of the Dodgers. So Celtics go for 6, they go for 10. Jeannie Buss will stay on as governor. NBA Finals Game 6 tomorrow night. Tyrese Halliburton, a game-time decision. Headlines, they are brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Summer begins this week. Start Awaken 180 today and look back 5, 10, 15 years from now saying the summer of 25 was my turning point. Awaken180weightloss.com. I'm Joe Murray.
Boston's best sports talk. There's an app for that. Download the Sports Hub app for loads of stuff. Absolutely free. Connect with the shows, get podcasts, and more. Get it where you get your apps. Or at 985sportshub.com.
Where are you, Joe?
That's right. I love the Beastie Boys. They are some of my favorites, and I love them. And they have their documentary. Oh, wow. That's a goodie. I watched that one night at 4 a.m. one time, and I couldn't shut it off. I watched it all night long. Wanted to just give some numbers quickly regarding the Red Sox and what's going on. So, they're not hitting. I mentioned they're 8-2 in their last 10 games. The pitching is carrying them. The offensive, I already gave you the offensive numbers, so that's where they are. But this AI story with Craig Breslow is starting to, well, it's percolated. How about that one? So we had Smitty on baseball last night or the night before, I can't remember. So he talked to Breslow today because they're on a getaway day. So sources on the ground. The Red Sox just sent out this statement about the report of the Red Sox using an AI for interviews and baseball ops. We wanted to reach out to you because we are seeing substantiated reports about the Red Sox using AI bots to hire candidates, and I feel it's important to address. So, just so you guys know, okay? You got something on this?
Well, I'm sure you're just seeing what you saw on Slack.
Yeah, I haven't read the rest of it.
Yeah, I was going to say it's very long. It's very wordy, but basically they're trying to say that, this is all part of the program process, whatever you want to call it.
So I told you I worked in tech before I worked here. So whenever I applied for a job, there's a lot of software that is AI generated. Some people might know Greenhouse. Some people might know some of these. When you apply for a job, there is software that looks for flags to basically put you in a pile where they send you the thanks but no thanks. It's a software. They're looking for specific words. They're looking for, did you use help with it's all that stuff. The company that the Red Sox use is called HireVue. So if you apply for a job, and I think Luke mentioned this, if you apply for a job through the Red Sox, it's through HireVue. And again, I've been through this. Normally, when I apply for a job, I send the direct manager an email because I don't like that AI stuff.
You're not a fan of the middleman, Joe.
Out on the middleman, because now I need some recruiter that's younger than me, with less experience than me, judging if I'm a right fit for the role? No. I go right to the source. No AI. Mr. So, I'm Joe. This is my resume. I'd be a great asset to your team. I would love the opportunity to discuss my qualifications with you. Thanks. Short, sweet. Here's my LinkedIn if you need to look at it. Bing, bang, boom. I don't need this AI stuff. So the Red Sox wanted to make it clear. This is what they said. We wanted to reach out to you because we are seeing unsubstantiated reports about the Red Sox using AI bots to hire candidates and feel it's important to address the facts with the group. Since 2012. How many have they won? They've won 2, right? 2 since 2012. Sam Kennedy told us how great they were, so I just wanted to. Since 2012, the club has used a tool called HireVue to screen applicants for all the roles across the organization. The Red Sox are one of several major league clubs to use this tool, which asks candidates to answer a few questions in a recorded video for the hiring manager to get a sense of the person beyond the resume. This is one of the several steps in a hiring process, and it's just one factor that helps determine which candidates should advance for an in-person interview. On average, the club receives about 500 applicants a position, and for some roles, about 3,000. I didn't even read this thing yet, Skaz. How did I know this before I even read this? So now, here it is. Smart guys telling me things I already know using big words. Unsubstantiated. When's the last time you've heard that said? Unsubstantiated. How about just lies? No, we want to cover our ass? You got to use. Why the big words? I know you went to Yale. I didn't.
No alignment talk in there, Joe?
We didn't get that far because it's really long. Alignment, what was the other? Infrastructure? Determine candidates in person. We wanted to ensure all of you that this information came directly from us and would appreciate your partnership in helping clear. Duh! We know this. We know this. I know this. Hey, do you know how hard it is to get a job nowadays? Seriously. Do you know how hard it is? How many people are facing this every single day? Not to go all crazy on you, but the Red Sox are telling us that they get 500 applicants a day and they use a service called HireVue, and it's a video process. I've done it. I have done it. I've done it with other companies here in the city for job scas in sports. I've done it. It's just, it's a closer way to get you to the hiring manager. When I worked in sales, I used a program called Drift, where I would just put up a sign and be like, you should talk to me. I'm Joe. Like, I've done all this software stuff before. Stop selling us on crap. This is just a program to basically make your job easier instead of human touch and emotion. But a lot of companies do it, so I don't want to just knock the Red Sox. But when you're hiring for your baseball operations, wouldn't you like to at least have some sort of, before you eliminate someone, get a feel for them off the bat?
They don't care, Joe. They're addicted to the computers. Whatever their computers tell them, that's what they're going to do.
This is why people are struggling to find jobs, guys. This is why we're all struggling. A lot of people are struggling out there. They get a job for 7 months. The company struggles. They get rid of them. If you don't hit your quarterly whatever for the first 90 days, they can do whatever they want to you. So all I'm trying to say is HireVue. I know other companies that do it, but this answer is an HR answer. This isn't where the Red Sox this is just an HR BS.
Yeah, and I'm 100% with you, Joe. There's 2 things for me from this statement that kind of stand out. Number one, AI. If you're using it, I think you're a moron, especially if you're reliant on it, then I think you're really a moron. Even if you're just doing it for like funny, goofy pictures, it's still a moron in my books. I don't think it's good, at least not in the way it's being used right now or the way it's advertised right now. But that's not what bothers me about this statement, Joe. When did this reports about the AI come out? Was it earlier today? Was it yesterday?
Yesterday.
The Red Sox responded today.
Today.
Really like aggressive,
urgency.
Yeah. Like this is what they care about. This is the problem with the Red Sox and why fans have become so disenchanted with the team. This is what they're worried about. This is what they care about. Their PR, how you quote unquote view them, their hiring process. No real fan gives a crap about the Red Sox hire. I mean, you do in the sense that you want them to hire the right people and you want baseball people in baseball positions, but the Red Sox don't care. They care about math and they care about how their PR is viewed. So never mind all the Devers rumors and Cora and Bregman and what goes on behind the scenes. They're not going to tell you anything about that, but you go at their hiring process and the AI system they're using, you're going to get a 900-word essay in the form of a tweet defending that practice. So I think that's just a little glimpse into the Red Sox and how, out to space they are at times and disconnected from their fan base. The urgency to respond to this, but nothing about actual baseball. That's kind of the issue with the Red Sox right now.
Well, you mentioned it earlier today. So we're just telling you what Smitty wrote before the game or after the game. Earlier, Ian Brown, MLB.com, Craig Breslow on the report from June Lee about the Red Sox using an AI bot to interview. My understanding is there is an initial screening, and that's used as a first filter. And then there's human interaction and conversation with it. So that's his understanding. But shouldn't Breslow be the one who says, I want to talk to this guy and not talk to this guy, or I want to interview? So they have someone else doing it.
The computer. They got to let the computer decide first. The overlords, Joe.
This is why guys, listen, all right? We work on the radio. Skaz worked in construction. I worked in the car business for years, and I went to tech for like 6 years. Okay, so we really worked in the real world. I'm not trying to be, hey, I'm on the radio, Mr. Radio guy. Like a lot of the people that work at our radio station have been in radio for 20 to 30 years. And I'm not saying that they can't relate to you, but you can relate to us or we can relate to you. This is the world now. Like any hire review, greenhouse, all of these things, when you send in your resume, it gets filtered. I've sold the software before. The companies that buy it, they can literally custom how they want it. I want someone who's 26, who has a master's degree with this. So a guy like me wouldn't even make the cut. I guess the Red Sox have their own little filters, Skaz, because is it about what you know or is it about what you're told to do? And I think that's what the Red Sox are these days. They want people that can be told what to do. Doesn't mean they're necessarily qualified. Hey, we're going to talk to Steve Buchanan of DraftKings coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5 The Sports.
to do.
And then Skaz asked me, hey, Joe, what song do you think Steve Buchanan wants to be welcomed into? And I don't know why I said it out loud. I said D-Generation X. And here we are. Steve Buchanan joining us here on 98.5 The Sports up from DraftKings. Steve, what'd you think of the song choice?
As that was playing, I'm sitting in my chair, and I raise my arm like I'm Shawn Michaels walking out in WrestleMania 14. I mean, it just goes. It goes.
Did you give the old chops, the X?
Of course I did. I'm sitting here chopping my computer.
Oh, speaking of computers, by the way.
Yeah.
I just went off on, the Red Sox have been using AI bots for their coaching searches. And,
yep.
You know, Steve, you've had a job for a while at DraftKings, and, you know, I've worked here in radio, but we've worked other jobs before. And it's hard to get a job now because when you send your resume in, there's this AI software that's basically throwing up flags. And therefore, they send you the thanks but no thanks, you know, good luck with your future endeavors. So it's hard nowadays. But that's how the Red Sox have been working, and they've been doing it since 2012. So they do have 2 championships to show for it. But do you think they're addicted to the computer just a little too much in Red Sox land?
Joe, you know what's crazy? Do you remember this past weekend, the Red Sox went and swept the New York Yankees, winning 5 games in a row in the process? Doesn't that feel like a month ago? Doesn't that feel like it was 2 months ago?
Yep.
Because everything that has happened in the interim is insane. We're talking about the Devers deal. We're talking about the AI stuff and how they're interviewing prospects and everything. It is absolutely insane what this team has resorted to at this point. Because let me tell you, when the Bregman contract was signed, I bought back in. And this is from somebody who has been, you know, watching from afar, I guess you could say, been totally tuned out on this team for a number of reasons. And that happened, and I said, you know what? I feel like they're making a concerted effort. I feel like we're going for it this year. We got the guys in the minors. We got Bregman. We got somebody to anchor the middle of that lineup. And we're not even at the All-Star break, Joe. And I am about as tuned out as you could be at this point. It's so frustrating. Boston fans should be livid at this point of what this front office is doing to this team, to the city. It's absurd that we're talking about, you know, AI and job interviews on June 18th, when just recently we just swept your biggest rival to get back into a playoff spot. It's insane.
Well, in fairness, you work over at DraftKings. You're a betting analyst, so you've actually found an interest in the other teams because they're competitive and, you know, there's interest, right? There's something on the line. Well, here with the Red Sox, you mentioned the Rafael Devers trade. I was shocked. I got to tell you. I don't get shocked often. This one shocked me. Now, I at least, you know, they got a return and they got out of the deal, so they have a chance to reset. But my only thing is, you just said you bought back in. I think they've just literally disrespected the Red Sox fans. Like, there's zero loyalty. And then I'll throw the other thing out there. Do you think any of these young players like Anthony and Meyer are like, hey, they're real loyal, they'll sign me? Like, now I'm starting to question all that for those guys.
No, totally. Because, like, how can you not feel like Boston is slowly kind of turning into, like, a team like the Pittsburgh Pirates or the Miami Marlins, right? Like, they grab this talent. You know, maybe those teams can't afford these exuberant contracts, but they'll ship them out of town as soon as they can. Now, I got to admit, Joe, I'm a little torn on the Devers thing. And I'll explain why. Like, for the Devers thing, I thought the contract was kind of crazy. $313 million. And the reason I say that is because in the same year, Atlanta went and signed Austin Riley to a very similar type deal. They're a very similar type of player. Riley does almost everything that Devers does, except hit for opposite field power. But I would say these two players are very comparable, and Austin Riley is a Gold Glove caliber fielder. So he has a massive one-up on Rafael Devers. But the Braves were able to sign him to a similar contract for almost $100 million less. His AAV, Austin Riley in Atlanta, is about $21 million, where Rafi Devers, who has basically become or was a glorified DH on the Boston Red Sox, was going to cost you an AAV of $31 million per year. That is a massive amount for what is, a typically one type of player, a one-rounded player in Rafi Devers and being a DH. So I wasn't crazy about the contract. But again, you look at this team now, and I know we got injuries. We got Bregman on the IL. We got Abreu on the IL. Where is the power on this team right now? Trevor Story just became your active home run leader, hitting his 10th home run today. The guy that everybody wants to get rid of. The guy we are begging to have to designate before the Rafi Devers trade went down. That is your active home run leader on this team right now is 10. So I'm torn on the trade overall, and there's going to be a lot of stuff that comes out, but that's the problem. I don't trust what comes out anymore, Joe. I don't know what to believe anymore because you can't trust this front office. What are they feeding to the media? What are they getting out there? What story, what narrative do they want to paint for us to kind of consume? That's the biggest problem that I have right now. So torn on the trade because, quite frankly, I'm so conflicted on what to believe, what's truthful, what's not, and why this actually went down.
And will they even spend the money that they saved? Like, nobody knows. We'll talk with Steve Buchanan of DraftKings. Hey, Steve, you do a lot of shows. You talk to people in different markets. Do you ever hear about Driveline and Radius and all these things, or even more off-speed pitches than fastballs? Do you hear this in other markets with other teams and philosophy? Are you hearing that from other teams or other people?
Bigger markets for sure. I think you'll hear that stuff in L.A. You'll definitely hear that type of stuff in New York. But the smaller market stuff, you never really hear stuff like that. Like a good example, Detroit is I would classify them as not a small market team, but smaller market team. And they're just ecstatic to be fielding a competitive team. They're not getting into all the nitty-gritty stuff about why this player, does well or, what pitches, Kerry Carpenter or Riley Green hit well. You don't hear stuff like that from the lower market teams. But, when you kind of bring this up, and I feel like I know where you're going with this, I think that's what, has been maybe the detriment of this team is maybe we're getting a little too analytical. And it's hard to in this day and age because there's so much information at our fingertips. Like the NFL is a great example with their next-gen stats, and the stats that you can pull out almost immediately is kind of insane. But, maybe this has kind of been a detriment for Boston, and this is why they've become so nitpicky or why they're cheap on players and not on others. But I think definitely in the higher market, bigger markets, but not in these smaller markets, like a place like Detroit.
Well, you just mentioned the Red Sox, and you don't know about trust and what they're going to do. Is there any value on betting on the Red Sox to make the playoffs at plus 185?
I don't think so right now. I feel like the story is not over now. I feel like we're in chapter 1 of a new book here, and where does this lead us from here? Because I truly don't know as it stands right now on June 18th. I don't know if we're buyers or sellers because you get rid of Devers. That's a white flag move, usually, right? If you're at the trade deadline, you get rid of one of your biggest players. That's a white flag move. They say they're not giving up, but of course they're going to say that. That's the jargon that's going to come out of this front office right now. But I truly don't know because the division is not as competitive because I think, Baltimore has taken a big step back, which is really surprising, and they were going to be one of the top contending teams here. New York's been doing fine. Toronto's in the mix. That kind of complicates things a bit. Tampa's kind of hovering, I guess you should say. But I don't know if we're buying or selling at this point. That's where we're at a crossroads. This is the crossroads that we're at right now on June 18th, is if this team is going to be buyers or sellers. And, they have to – what message are they going to send? Because if they're selling off again and we miss the playoffs again – what can this team do to bring people back? I don't know anymore because if they haven't lost all trust with Boston fans right now, they are on the absolute brink. There's one foot off the ledge and they're holding on with the other. That's kind of how I feel right now. So I don't know where this team's going to go because I never expected this type of trade so early in the season.
Just to double down on what you said, I think for maybe the last 10 days, the Red Sox veterans have been taking it upon themselves, the pitchers in particular, throwing more fastballs than changeups, and I know Breslow and Bailey want to have that type of philosophy. The other thing is Driveline's been really big. Well, they had a couple of games where they hit home runs and had a lot of runs. Well, now they're manufacturing runs. They scored 5 runs in this whole series, I believe. They scored 13 runs in the last week against the Yankees, and now against Seattle. Do you feel that there's a push-pull between Cora and Breslow, and who do you think would win that battle?
I would like to think that Cora wins that battle, but I mean, I don't know anymore. Like Cora feels like such a different person from what we saw 2-3 years ago, let's say. When I listen to Cora talk and everything, it doesn't sound like the same manager that I've become accustomed to and that I've been used to hearing during these press conferences or whatever. And one of the things I wonder is, what was Cora's stance on trading Devers or not? Forgive me if that's out there and I've missed it. I don't think that we've got solidified comments from Cora, and I probably don't expect to. But, what was his stance on that? And I think that is where it kind of is going to figure out who is really, running this ship or who is driving this ship right now, I think is a good way to put it. So I would like to think it's Cora, because at the end of the day, Cora is the one that's filling out your 1 through 9 and making all those moves, and he's fielding the team that he is given by Breslow. But at this point, it does feel like there's an extreme power struggle going on right now. And if Breslow's the one that's going to win this fight, then boy, are we doomed, Joe. Boy, are we doomed. I do not feel good about that at all.
Yeah, just don't call him a stiff or he'll fire you, and then that won't work out. That won't work out well. Hey, in baseball, right? Just looking around, the Tigers are a very profitable team. Alex Bregman had a chance to go there, came to Boston. I wonder if he regrets that at this point. But the Tigers have been super profitable right now, plus 700 to win it all. But I'm also looking at some teams that are not profitable, and that would be the Rockies. Should I be betting against the Rockies every single night?
It kind of feels that way at this point, right? It's insane how bad this team is. We're less than 2 weeks away from July, and that team hasn't even cracked 20 wins yet. They have 16 wins on the year, and Joe, by the way, that is in the midst of a 3-game winning streak. It is insane how bad this team is, because after that, you got teams like Miami, the Pirates. They're both 1 win away from 30 wins on the year. Even if you take the worst team in the American League, which is the Chicago White Sox, to no surprise to anybody, they're 23-15. They have 7 more wins at this point than the White Sox. It is absolutely insane how bad this Rockies team is. And not only that, they don't even have assets that other teams want to go out and grab either. They don't have these guys that they can go and sell off and try to rebrand. They've been rebranding for 15 years, it feels at this point, and nothing has been happening for that team. So betting against the Rockies is going to be expensive, very expensive, but there's money to be made there betting against the Colorado Rockies.
Well, the West is just loaded, right? Dodgers, Giants, Padres. I mean, the Diamondbacks went to a World Series recently. Maybe they're buyers at the deadline, Steve.
I mean, they absolutely could be. I mean, the National League is pretty tight overall. I mean, I think it's about 8 teams that are within 3 games of a wild card spot. Granted, we're still about a month away from the All-Star break, so a lot of things can still bend or break at that point. But, Diamondbacks, I think, got a really good team that have really underperformed. St. Louis is kind of making a lot of noise, and I don't think a lot of people expected that. They were, expected to be bottom of the barrel and then NL Central, and they've been, they've been above 500 now. They're a decent team too. So we're getting into that situation where, there's going to be a lot more buyers because of how they've restructured the playoffs. There's going to be a lot more buyers than there are sellers. And the teams that are sellers right now don't exactly have a lot of attractable assets that they can move. Your sellers right now are Baltimore, which does have a lot of good assets. I will say that. But Athletics, I don't think they're looking to move some of their guys. Chicago's got nobody really for the White Sox. And then you got the Marlins, Pirates, and Rockies. Those are probably your sellers at this point. And there's not enough on any of those teams for these big-time buyers to look and grab from any of them. So it's going to be an interesting trade deadline, I think, for sure, because the market is going to be so saturated that it's going to really be a pretty penny to grab some of these assets that teams want.
All right, Steve. I wanted to tell you I have a new favorite player in Major League Baseball.
Oh, I'd love to hear it.
His name is P. Crow Armstrong. It is.
Oh, my God.
PCA.
Joe, I'm going to tell you something, and it really hurts me to admit this. I had 2 first Bowman autos of PCA, and I sold them early. And I'm watching him perform every night he hits a home run. My heart dies a little bit more because I'm like, I usually am someone that has no problem holding cards. I have no problem waiting on guys. I'll take the risk there. This might be the biggest miss that I had in my card collecting career. I'll say that. I think PCA is my biggest whiff right now, and that's really depressing to talk about. And yeah, you just ruined my night. I'm going to be thinking about this all night now. The PCA stuff is going to bother me again.
Is this cards from the Mets or Cubs?
Those would have been from the Cubs.
Cubs. Okay.
Oh no, I'm sorry, the Mets. The Mets.
Because wasn't he traded? What was he traded for? Like it was a bad trade, right?
It was a bad trade. I forget what it was, but I remember they gave up on him way too early. And obviously, from what you're seeing now, but like he was a very highly touted prospect when he was coming up through the minor league system. I don't know off the top of my head what that trade was for, but it has not worked out well. Let's put it that way. It has not worked out in the Mets' favor. But that's typical Mets. That's what happens to them.
Baez and Trevor Williams. That was the trade there at the deadline. Skaz showed me a home run last night that he hit was 490 foot, but it hit the wall, so I think it would have went further.
He's a freak athlete. He's unbelievable.
Recently,
and I sold him way too early.
Recently, somebody said that Ceddanne Rafaela could be the next PCA, and I kind of laughed.
Excuse me? Yeah. Who says that?
Well, the warp, the F war, and all those kind of numbers.
The stuff that the Red Sox love is what you're saying.
Yes.
Because that's working out well.
Yeah, because, I didn't even see him in center field today, by the way, Raphael. I think it was Campbell. But, yes, they compare his defense to Pete Crow Armstrong. Wow.
Yeah, the defense on the Red Sox team that is the second worst fielding percentage in the entire league. Yeah, fantastic. Love to hear that.
What other cards you got going on, man? I got a big card show. You should come. It's July.
When is it?
It's July 26th, and it's at Polar Park in Worcester.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'll be there.
I mean, I'm always a huge sucker for card shows. So if you let me know ahead of time, I can be there. I love going to card shows.
It's a big boy. Hey, maybe we could even say, come meet Steve Buchanan of DraftKings.
Well, wow. I don't know if that would attract many people, though. I feel like that actually might hurt. That might hurt.
Well, wait. You've come to Sylvan Street Grill, and the place is packed.
That's true, but that might be because of the calamari. I think that's what it's more of, and not me. But I will happily take the compliment and say people are coming for me.
I will tell you, though, the food in Worcester is absolutely outstanding. Absolutely. They got a great little marketplace next door as well, and it's next to a dispensary.
Oh, see, now you're talking my language, Joe. Now we really got. Hey, you know where I'm actually going very soon? Is I'm going to Texas in a couple weeks because I'm going to be. I'll tell you right now, I am going to be all over AEW television for about a week and a half.
Whoa! What's this? What's this?
Yeah. So I'll be going out for All In, which is at Globe Life Field in Texas, and I'm going to be doing some spots for DraftKings on Dynamite, Collision, and pay-per-view.
So are you gonna be like, John Moxley's gonna take down he's favored minus 500, like that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so we do free-to-play pools on DraftKings where you can go and answer free questions about particular matches, and there's like a $10,000 prize pool. So if you answer the most questions correctly, usually there's a lot of ties, but you get a share of the prize pool. So I'll be going out to Texas around the second week in July, and I'll be out there for almost a week for All In doing some AEW stuff.
Wow. So we can see you on like TNT and TBS. Correct. And then probably on the Premium Live event as well?
Yep. So that'd be on Amazon Prime, on YouTube, on Max, all that stuff. I will be there.
What's the biggest storyline in AEW right now?
So there's definitely some multiple right now, but I think it's more of so John Moxley's still the world champ, defending against Hangman Adam Page, who won the Owen Hart men's tournament to get there. But kind of just the thought of dethroning John Moxley finally, I think, is kind of the big story leading up to this.
Well, All In is somewhat the, would you say, like the inaugural event that put AEW on the map?
That and Double or Nothing, I think, are their two big ones that I would say are like their creme de la cremes. But this is a big one. This is going to be their biggest AEW event in North America with the way ticket sales are going. I think they're close to 20,000 at this event, so it's going to be awesome.
Dude, is this in Arlington?
Yeah, where the Rangers play, Globe Life Field.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Have you been to Texas before?
I've never been, so this will be a first one.
It's humongous.
Yeah.
I went for WrestleMania Dallas, and it was really big. By the way, the Dallas Stadium is in Arlington, which is like 50 minutes from Dallas. So it's like
Right.
It's like from your house to Gillette Stadium, literally.
Right. Yep.
So I would tell you to go to Pecan Lodge in Dallas, which is the best barbecue I've ever had. But it's going to be a long Uber ride.
Yeah. There's going to be, because I'm doing the shows for Dynamite and Collision, and those are about an hour away from Arlington. So that's going to be interesting. But
good for you, man. I'm happy for you, dude. And I know you've been doing some local stuff, right, with wrestling?
Yeah, that's been put on hold for now. I haven't done that lately.
That's because you're now big time AEW.
We haven't done it yet. But put it this way: until I am in front of that camera, I'm gonna be a little calm about this. But yeah, the AEW stuff is gonna be awesome. I'm really excited about that.
Humble.
It's been a great day. So not only do we get the AEW stuff, but then Karen Reed went free today too. It's been a glorious day today, Joe.
Well, I'm happy for you. We might. I'm happy that you feel good. I'm happy for you. July 12th, Global Life Field, all Elite Wrestling, all in. Tell Samoa Joe I said hello. We're friends. And Steve, I'm happy for you, my man. Great job tonight. And let's enjoy your 4th of July. Enjoy July, and I'll be watching you on AEW. I'll be like, that's Steve. I'm going to be tagging you all over the place. It's Steve.
Call me in. We'll do a live hit from AEW.
You know what? I'm in on that. I'm going to text you. You beware. I'm calling.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right. He's Steve Buchanan. Everybody at DraftKings. Steve, appreciate it, man. Good luck.
Thanks, dude. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
All right. Steve Buchanan, all in, baby. Sources on the ground. Maybe your friend Mercedes Skaz, who you went on a plane ride with.
Yes. Yeah.
Mercedes Monet. She's the champ.
Very friendly.
Yes, from here. Do you know that? Snoop Dogg's cousin, also.
Texas, also pretty big.
Oh, it's big. I would suggest renting a car. I spent $600 on ride shares in 4 nights because it was really big. All right, let's get to the headline. I'm Joe Murray.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius.
Luke's mom made cookies. I don't know if they were chocolate chip or there was some M&M in there.
I'm being told M&M, Joe.
They're still warm. They're very soft. It was made with love. I feel the love.
You gonna give it a number?
I don't want to disrespect the lady,
but it was great.
I'm gonna tell you right now, that's an above average cookie. So not only is it above average, it's good.
It's above average.
I would go definitely 50-50 yes on the cookie.
50-50 yes.
Yep. So shout out to Mrs. Fitzpatrick. Yeah, we'll just go with that. Mrs. Fitz with the cookies. Tell her I love cookies. I also like brownies too. And what does Skaz like? What do you like, Skaz?
I like cookies and brownies as well. I just got to take some medication before I have them.
What can you eat not unmedicated?
What a sentence. What a sentence. What can I eat? Cereal, Joe?
Well, okay. How about oatmeal raisin cookie? Could you eat that?
If there's no butter in it, yeah. But yeah, I'm a Lactaid guy. Just take a Lactaid pill beforehand. You're all good.
Listen, you tell your mom that I like cookies. I like brownies. I love all baked goods. Cheesecake. Oh, I love a cheesecake. Maybe on your last day, she can whip up something.
Joe, these sound like demands.
Hey, remember the kid? There was a kid here. I happened to be filling in on Felger and Maz that day. But they made a cake that said, we have a show to do today, which I thought was actually it was a cookie that said, we have it was cookies that had a different word that said, we have a show to do today.
Yeah, I also believe he didn't make it. I believe it was his mother that made it.
The mama love. Those cookies are good. Oh, and they've been in that nice little Tupperware container, so I can tell they still made fresh. And when he opened it, I went, because I'm a sniffer. I would have dipped that in milk. I was supposed to talk about the guy that had a 5-team parlay that was for $270,000. And quite frankly, he had a chance to cash out at $40,000. And last night he posted it at 4:51 p.m. The cash out was $39,902.75. This is where I wish he called me. Again, 617-779-0985. He called me. Hedge! 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 He got greedy, and he got nothing!
You know what I think we call that, Joe?
It's a chunky! Uh-oh, you got a chunky!
We haven't used that one in a while.
That's a big old chunky right there.
That's a chunky. Cash out, bro. Take the $39,902.75 and put $902.75 on Edmonton. Because they were plus money. You could have won an additional $10,000, but you got greedy. And you came away with nothing. But call me because I can help you. Now, this isn't a solicitation. The No More Bankroll Boys show. The Over Under podcast has ended after 7 years, so I don't know if I'm... Skaz, I'm open for business. If somebody needs a betting analyst this season, I am available. I'm available every day before 6 o'clock. How about that? You need me? You want me to do a cooking show? You want me to try your food? I will. You pay me. I will try your food.
My dream show is Joe's on the road, and it's you and Street Team Joe traveling around the great state of Massachusetts, and there's no template, there's no game plan, just eating food, finding foods.
Should we share there was a video last night posted.
I was going to say, is that posted yet? Because I would recommend people go check that out. A lot of sounds in that video.
Do you think I should post it to Twitter?
You got to for the people, Joe.
So what people don't know yet is I am a digital media.
You're a content creator.
Content creator. Not just on the radio. We do this on writing. We do it on video, our social. But I have a TikTok. I am not a TikToker. TikToker. I just post content to TikTok. And well, myself and Street Team Joe tried a meatball sub last night. Skaz watched the video. Oh, we gave out ratings. Joe was talking about how much he loves his grandmother's meatballs.
It's probably my favorite part of the clip.
And I'm just eating. He's talking to me, but I'm not talking back.
And you get an up close and personal view of the eating.
I got intimate, baby. Right in the face.
You know how that meatball sub felt.
Mm-hmm. Should I post it?
Yeah, give the people what they want.
What are the people thinking, chat? Joe, somebody would call the show Joey Street Meat.
Joe's on the street.
Joe's. Should I post it, people?
Meet the street with the Joes.
You can go to TikTok and follow Joey Murr, I think is my name. Oh, hey, we got In or Out. Did you know that? We got that coming up next, right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
What's it gonna be, McFly? Are you in or out?
Don't go.
Brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Summer begins this week. Start Awaken 180 today and look back 5, 10, 15, even 20, 30 years from now, saying the summer of 2025 is when the turning point. Awaken 180 weightloss.com. I'm Joe Murray.
Here we go.
Boom. I win. Boom.
Yeah. It's a buddy.
We've got a passion for Boston sports.
Get angry.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Are you in or out? Gotta know without a doubt. I'm the one you need for a dirty deed. I'm the best. Success is
Oops. Greatest strength be.
He isn't a piece of poop, Joe. He eats poop. Maybe there's a waste problem.
It's a beetle?
A dung beetle, yeah. They
Sorry. A dung beetle has a great feat.
Maybe there's a sewerage break or something in his town, and he gets to eat it all or something like that. I have no idea. I just read the headlines, Joe.
There's only one person I know who eats poop, mostly for breakfast. Shooter McGavin.
I thought you were going to say like a dog, or something.
No. Shooter McGavin eats poop for breakfast. Can we bookmark this one for amusing some night? Maybe we can get to like a trailer. This one, no verdict.
TBD?
TBD.
The jury is out.
Jury is definitely out on that one.
Well, Joe, I don't know if this is a good transition, but Wendy's is releasing a new Takis Fuego meal this week. Speaking of poop, it seemed a little too easy of a transition there, Joe, but it features a spicy chicken sandwich topped with Takis chips and chili lime fries. Joe,
I love Takis. So here's the deal. Have you ever had Takis?
I think I've tried them.
It's like a more circled Frito. It's not a Frito, but it's like a circular corn chip, and it definitely gets your hands dirty. Like when you eat like cheese puffs and your hands become orange. But I've had the lime ones, guys. They're outstanding. And the lime really hits with the spice. Put that on top of a nice burger. Takis is good. Good.
All right, Joe, sticking with
And you know what?
food?
I know what I got tonight, by the way, for
boy.
a snack.
Oh, those hot fries? Great. Andy Capp's hot fries.
Now, listen. This is what I'm going for.
That's a great road trip snack right there.
This is what I want. But every once in a while, when I like to get a little spicy, I go Taki.
All right, Joe, sticking with food, Rolled Gold, the pretzel company, has responded to Dots with a new Doritos Cool Ranch pretzel collab. Joe Murray, are you in or out on Cool Ranch Dorito pretzels?
The Cool Ranch collab has worked on everything. Remember Taco Bell did the nacho, and then so I'm in on anything Cool Ranch. Generally, when I eat a Dorito, it is a Cool Ranch Dorito. Now, this could be a controversial take, but growing up, we didn't have a Cool Ranch option, Skaz. Luke's whole life, he's probably had the Buffalo Blaze. He's probably had all the options for Doritos. Growing up, for me, it was just old-fashioned nacho cheese. That's it. The red Doritos.
Luke, not a Doritos guy, he says.
Then Cool Ranch came out, and it was like, yeah. What, you don't like
He
Doritos?
said Cool Ranch are pretty good. He's in on Cool Ranch.
What's your favorite chip? He's a thinker, huh, this kid?
He's not a big chips guy. He would say Cheez-Its if they count.
I like Cheez-Its too, but...
Dude, Fritos, is that a chip? I'm a Fritos
I love
guy.
Fritos.
Yeah.
Do you know I liked... What?
Out on Fritos. He's got some bad takes. Beat it out of him.
Know what, though? He's a thinker.
He is a thinker.
This kid's a thinker. I like it.
Need to get him and Milliken in the same room together.
Oh, yeah. Skaz, the Fritos scoop.
Oh.
Forget about Tostitos. Don't even bother. I like Santitas. They're $2 a bag. Love those. No. Frito Lay scoop for any type of salsa. I told you my salsa dish, right? So just in case anybody wants to know my recipe, You get Newman's pineapple salsa, cream cheese, and shredded cheese. Put it in a nice little ramekin. Pop it in the old oven. Bing, bang, bop, boom.
Joe, would you like to guess what year the Doritos Cool Ranch flavor was introduced?
1991.
Close. 86.
Damn! I was born in 82, so... I'm always within a 4-year 86 and 91. Yeah.
You're within a presidential term.
But dude, no. Like growing up, we had like bugles.
Oh, bugles. You stick them on your fingers. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's everyone did that, yeah.
Cheez-Its I like. What about when Cheez-Its gets creative, like the cheddar ones?
Cheddar blasted and all that. They're fine.
Pineapple salsa ice at everybody. Newman's. What else we got?
All right, Joe. Capri Sun has released a limited edition 15-inch juice pouch. Joe Murray, are you in or out on the extended juice pouch?
A 15-incher is like when you go to Mexico on your spring break and you drink out of those long drinks. By the way, like, how do you fit that in a lunch pouch?
Well, there comes the issue. One, how does it stay cold if you're mobile with it? Eventually, the bottom of that's going to get pretty warm. And how are you traveling with that thing?
One of my favorite shows was called Insecure. I don't know if anybody ever saw it. It was on HBO. And she had a party lift, and she would give Capri Suns to the rideshare people. I don't know, would you say it's a 15-incher?
Yeah.
Where's that going to fit?
That was the Issa Rae show?
Yeah, I love
Good show.
Oh, that was a good one. Someone just mentioned bring back Hi-C Ecto Cooler. Dude, that was when Ghostbusters came out. It was the green. Oh, yeah. You know I don't drink soda anymore. But Hi-C Orange from like a McDonald's? Baby. Insecure was fabulous stuff. 15-incher, huh? Fruit by the foot was at least rolled up. Where am I going to get it? Well, never mind.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5.
quick. Smelly.
It's Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
But they were good tonight, and I like this. Skaz and I last night were like, who could we have on tomorrow to do a plethora of like a little bit of a buffet of sports? And I said, how about Matt Dolloff? And he joins us here on 98.5 The Sports Hub, and of course works over at 98.5thesportshub.com. Matt, how are you tonight, sir?
Hey, good. How are you, Joe?
Well, we went to you for some buffet stuff, so here we go. How about we serve up first? Let's serve up your thoughts on Brad Marchand winning his second Stanley Cup, and where does that rank him amongst other Boston Bruins?
Other Boston Bruins all time. Just comparing him to other Bruins.
How about the since 2010?
Oh, I rank him number one among the 4 ex-Bruins that skated around with the Stanley Cup last night. So I put him clear number one. Then probably AJ Greer, and then Jesper Boqvist, and then the fourth one escapes me.
How about Bergeron, Chara, that crew?
Oh, I mean, he's in that crew. I mean, he's going to probably get his number retired at some point. I think he's definitely going to be a Hockey Hall of Famer at this point. You hear the way people talk about him, prominent figures in the league. They refer to him basically, the future Hall of Famer, Brad Marchand. And so I think he has reached that upper echelon, Joe. And I know it's a little hard to grasp even after we've watched him play for almost 15 years here. But, you look at the league leaders over the last 10 years or so. Like, he's up there. He's top 10 in points. He's up there in playoff points. He's the league leader in shorthanded goals over the last decade. That's like his specialty. And obviously he just had an epic run with the Panthers. And I thought it was a perfect fit for him. I thought he was a little, freed up. He was able to play a little looser in that third line role, not having to be the captain, not having to be, the leading scorer or anything like that. And he was reinvigorated. And so I think he earned his next contract. And, we'll see where he lands there. I wouldn't blame him taking the bag where whoever's willing to give it to him. But yeah, no, he's an all-time Bruin. I think he's up there on all the Bruins lists, and I think his number's going to be up in the Raptors someday. He's one of those guys. Like, I think, it's unfortunate the way it ended, but not his fault. It's Don Sweeney's fault, the way he's built the team around him. So I think he is one of those all-time Bruins. I think it's completely fair to put him in that, a similar class to the Bergerons and the Charas of the world.
Yeah, I was thinking Chara probably is Hall of Famer. Bergeron will go. I think Rask will go at some point. But all failed to win multiple championships. Chara at the end was told he's too old. Bergeron had to take less for many years. Rask was the fall guy for it all. But in this case, Brad Marchand bet on himself. Like, he wanted 7 and change. They offered it to him. And he bet on himself. And I understand it didn't work out here, and I'm not blaming the Bruins for trading him. I actually thought in the end it was really good for Florida, and it was good for the Bruins as well. But Matt, there's a list now of guys who got traded away and won, and Joe Thornton never did, but Phil Kessel won 3. Now Marchand has another. Bruce Cassidy won 1. I mean, is there a thing about players leaving Boston and winning elsewhere?
I mean, recently, yes, because you just look at Don Sweeney's history here as GM, and look, I think the criticism maybe gets a little over the top with Don Sweeney, where like he can't do anything right. Like, but I don't know. It's 10 years later, and he's 2 years removed from being in the playoffs, and like they had the best record ever in the regular season. And 2 years ago, I know they came up woefully short in the postseason that year, but he's done a good job with trades, in my opinion, and he's had a few free agent signings he'd like to have back. Obviously, the most recent ones, but it really goes back to the drafting and developing, Joe. I think if they were able to hit on those picks in 2015, obviously, but even in the 10 subsequent years, like if they were able to, identify just a few key core players, even in the second and third round. Brad Marchand was a third round pick. Like, you could get impact players in that part of the draft. You don't have to be drafting, top 5 every year to get those impact guys. And I think they really came up short in that area on forwards and defense. And so I think the roster really deteriorated around Brad Marchand, and they made those free agent signings. Those didn't work out. And a lot of the marginal signings that they made last season Those didn't work out, and the way they wanted to build the team, I don't think was a good idea for this current league. I think this is still going in the direction of speed and skill. You do have to play that sort of two-way game, which I think the Florida Panthers do, but they have plenty of speed and skill. And so I think Don Sweeney came up really short identifying those players in the draft, and I think if they were able to build the team that way, which I think is, still the best way and, easily the best way to build a team in that league, they might have had a chance to win one more with Brad Marchand and Patrice Bergeron and those guys at the end of their careers. But it was just that roster deterioration because they couldn't get those guys in the pipeline. And so I think that's why in the last few years, obviously they Bruce Cassidy was kind of a scapegoat. I would say I would have kept him around as the coach, considering how the coaching has gone the last few years. And now Brad Marchand and all the guys that they sold off this year, I think that's just a byproduct of the way that the roster is really broken down because they haven't been able to build through the draft. And so that's why the roads all lead back to Sweeney and the way he's drafted. It's the way this thing has gone in the last couple of years.
What would you project Brad Marchand's next contract to be?
Well, Chris Johnston, who's, top NHL insider, said earlier this month that he could get up to $8 million on his next deal. Elliot Friedman said, I think it was today when their podcast came out, because it was after the Cup final was over. I think that was this morning when it came out. He said he could get even more than that, just in terms of AAV. I don't know what the term's going to be like, but I know Brad Marchand wants to play. I heard you guys talking earlier about what if he retires out of nowhere, he wants to go out on top, that whole thing. I don't think that's the case. I think he wants to keep playing. I think he wants to keep winning. I think he wants to play into his 40s. And so that is going to be an interesting decision for him, because what if there's a team that offers him the most money, but it's not really a team that's knocking on the door of a championship? I think he's got to seriously consider staying in Florida, even if Florida is offering maybe a little bit less to say to him, look, we want to keep this core together, but we need you to take just a little bit less, and we're going to go for yet another Stanley Cup here. We're going to go for the dynasty. We're going to go for 3 straight cups. And so that's going to be an interesting decision for him. I think it would be best for Brad Marchand, if he wants to keep winning, to go to a team like Florida that has forward depth and cap space, and they can build around him, and they don't need him to be that number one scorer, captain, that type of presence, which is what he was being dependent on to be for the Bruins, which I think that's just asking too much for him at this stage of his career. And that's why I think that's a big reason he looked so invigorated with the Panthers, that all that weight was sort of off his shoulders. And so wherever he signs, it's got to be for a team that I think wants to get over the hump and could use a guy like him that's a proven playoff performer and scorer, and doesn't have to be the top guy necessarily. And so, a team like Winnipeg comes to mind, Carolina, those teams that really they've had trouble getting over the hump of the playoffs. They have some cap space. Winnipeg's going to be losing Nikolai Ehlers this year, so maybe Marchand could be a short-term replacement there. I would project him to get, in the $7 to $8 million range. I don't know if the team's willing to go any crazier than that, but, he's looking for 3 years, and so I'll keep it at 3 years, but call it, 3 years, $7.5 to $8 million a year.
All right, we're talking to Matt Dolloff, him of 98.5 thesportshub.com, also 98.5 Underground. What do you got on Connor McDavid? And, he's got a year left. What does Edmonton do? They need a goalie, right? What? I think they need to have a nice little intervention.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying for a few years, and it's tough because it's McDavid's one of those guys where it's hard to really criticize him. He's so far and away the most talented player in the league based on pure talent. But I just, as a guy that's been watching this league for 30 years now, 30 plus years, my whole life, the guys that they finally end up winning, the guys that they figure out that two-way part of their game. They sacrifice a little bit of the offense to play a little better, play a little stronger in their end. And so, a guy like Steve Yzerman comes to mind, Mike Modano, those guys were elite scorers earlier in their career. And then they sort of evolved into more of a two-way player, and then, they start winning. And so I think that's really the case, I think, with a guy like McDavid. And, look, offensively, he's the most gifted player I've ever seen, Joe. Even in terms of how much he dominates the league and how much better he is than everybody else right now. He's incredible. But he's got to play a little harder and tougher on the puck, getting the puck away from the other team in his own end. that just has to be a thing in the playoffs. And like the Panthers, their entire forward group does that. And Alexander Barkov is arguably the best in the league at that. He's arguably the best two-way player in the entire league. And so I think that's why they win. You got to play that 200-foot game. And so I look at the Oilers last night and like, yes, they need better goaltending. Yes, I think you can't really win the Stanley Cup with bad goaltending, right? I think you need at least a guy that's, started in the league, has a chance to sort of elevate in the playoffs, like has that, established starter kind of guy. Doesn't have to be an elite guy, but doesn't. I think you need a good, a solid starter. I don't think Skinner is that. And yes, they need that, but I look at McDavid and Draisaitl last night, Joe. 2 shots on goal between them, and they were combined like -8 or something like that. They were a net negative for that team. And that can't happen with those guys. Those are arguably the 2 best forwards in the league right there. And you should be able to win a cup with those guys. And so maybe if they get a goalie, maybe they could get over the hump with that. But, I look at the way those guys played. I look at the way their defense played too. Like the Florida forwards won that series because they were so relentless and they gave so much trouble to Edmonton defense. And Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard, those guys just aren't good enough to cover up for that. And so it was sort of a team-wide breakdown, in my opinion, for Edmonton. But you look at McDavid and, like, he's got a chance to be the best athlete ever that never won a championship. And so, like, I know he's got a long way to go in his career. But, he's going to start winning some cups. Like, he's not a guy where you look at him like he's got to win a cup. He's got to win multiple cups. Like, he's that good. And so I think he needs to figure out his own game, and the Oilers maybe need to figure out a way to build better around him. And, maybe if he ends up elsewhere, that the story changes there. But McDavid individually, he needs to play more of a two-way game, in my opinion, if he wants to actually get over the hump and win a Stanley Cup. And so I think he could. I think he's got the talent to do it, but he's got to commit to it. And so I think until he makes that change, you're not going to be lifting the cup anytime soon.
All right, Matt, I'm going to give you the floor here to I'm going to ask you I got 3 questions for you, but I want you to answer 2 of them. Do you want to talk about the Red Sox using AI, the Rafael Devers trade, or your thoughts on the best American band?
Oh, the best American band. Oh, yeah, I was texting you and McCarthy about that recently, wasn't I?
Yep.
Okay, let's put the AI thing to the side. I think we could agree that the AI thing is troublesome.
Yep.
I mean, AI can't be the thing. Like you can't AI could be used as a tool by humans, but AI can't be the interviewer. So leave it at that. So you want to ask me about the other 2 things first, or?
Yeah, let's do it. So let's do the Devers trade. What are your thoughts?
My problem with the trade, Joe, is that they prioritize getting rid of the contract over getting a better return, getting better players in return. I think that is the most bothersome part to me because the very idea of moving on from Rafael Devers doesn't necessarily bother me. He's a designated hitter. I think that's what he's going to be long term. Maybe a first baseman if he can figure that out, but that's at least going to take some time out there and see it for him. But I think realistically he's a DH and a very good one, but he's going to be getting into his 30s in a few years here. And what is he really going to be over the end of that deal when he's making $28.5 million a year? And so, obviously the clubhouse attitude stuff is pretty obvious. It was overt, the way he conducted himself. And so it sounded like he was becoming a serious problem behind the scenes. And this is a Red Sox team that has a lot of young talent coming up. And so they want to rip off the Band-Aid, move toward that next era. That is all fine to me. I just don't love that this just stinks of them wanting to get out of that contract. And so you wonder where that money's going to go. Are they going to spend that money at all? I don't really care that John Henry gets to save some money. I think the Red Sox should be able to spend whatever. Are people going to come to me and tell me that the Dodgers are stupid for all the money they spend? They are the World Series champion not because of analytics or anything like that. It's because they have the highest end talent and they spend. And so that's what I wish the Red Sox would do. And so I hope they take that money and they spend it on maybe these guys that they have internally if they can lock them up soon. That might be tough with Marcelo Meyer, I believe, is a Scott Boras guy. But yeah, my big problem with the deal is that they focused on getting rid of the money over getting better players back. They couldn't get a legit major league player back in that deal. That's the part that bothers me about that trade.
All right, and so there's no wrong answer. I just want you to know this, but I've done it for a week now, and I've asked, who are the top American bands, and I know you can throw Bruce Springsteen in there with his band, right? You could put Tom Petty in there with his band. I'm just kind of taking them out, and I feel like it is for the most part Aerosmith, Eagles, right? Well, I don't know. McCarthy says, he was the Reaper on the Brian Wilson Beach Boys thing. But I do agree that Metallica should be on the list.
Yeah, so you're saying American rock band? Like not just any kind of band?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
But do you take heavy metal out of that? Because heavy metal is like its own sort of thing almost. It's like an extreme version of rock and roll, you know what I mean?
But I think Metallica is Metallica. I know it's metal, but I don't know. People mention Green Day. I don't know if I'd put them in there, but I think they're respectable. Weezer was another one.
Yeah, Green Day's great, but I wouldn't say they're the best. They're on the list somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe top 20 or something. Aerosmith, I think, is a pretty easy pick there. They had the longevity, so many hits. Joe Perry, I think, one of the more underrated guitar players ever. Steven Tyler, the quintessential rock and roll frontman. And so maybe we're biased because they're like a Boston band, but I think they deserve their spot way up there, if not number one. I am partial to the grunge bands. I know you're a grunge guy. That's what I grew up on. So, the Nirvanas, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, I think they should be in the conversation. Maybe it's a bit of a stretch to put them number one in terms of all-American bands. But, yeah, I have a hard time picking against Metallica myself because I'm such a big Metallica fan. I've seen them a few times live. I also grew up on their music. I think they're the best metal band ever. And so if we could include metal bands in the rock discussion, then it's really hard to top Metallica. I think it's between them and Aerosmith, personally, for the best American rock band.
Matt, final one, food question. What is your favorite chip? Doesn't have to be the best. What's your favorite?
Oh, man. I think recent years, the Lay's barbecue potato chips, it's like crack, Joe. I can't put it down.
Yeah.
I couldn't get a big bag of that because I just eat it all in one day. So I'm partial to that. I do like the classic Cape Cod chips too.
Oh, I like the salt and vinegar.
And the classic baked Lays are great too.
Yep.
But
we were
if I could pick one right now, I'd go with Lay's barbecue.
I like Lay's barbecue. I also like Ruffles barbecue.
I don't know if I've ever had the Ruffles barbecue. I've had just the regular one.
It's the one with Jason Tatum on the front.
Well, that's why I haven't had it. I can't endorse anything that man does.
How do you feel about Takis?
I've never had that. I've never had Takis. When you say Takis, Joe, I think of this sub shop in my hometown of North Andover. Takis Pizza and Subs. It's pretty good. You're a classic local joint. But
shout out.
That's what I think of when you say Takis. I'm familiar with the chips or whatever that is, but I've never tried it.
Do you like spicy?
Yeah, I like a little bit of spice. I'll take a little spice.
We got to do a taste test. Dolloff Takis test. I think I might bring some Takis in and we'll video it. Be good,
okay.
Good social
I'll do
content.
That. Yeah, no. Next time I'm in the building and you're doing the show, we can do that.
We're gonna do a Takis taste test.
Absolutely.
The triple T's. Make sure to cross all your T's and dot your lowercase J's.
It's my eye, isn't it?
No, I didn't. Now, see, that's from Wade's World. See?
Well, why would we say anything about that weird eye?
Exactly. I know. See, you picked up on that. I'm glad. I almost wore my Wayne Stock shirt today. Maybe I'll wear that when we do our triple T talkie.
No, this is going to be an old man fashioning a kayak out of a log. Rick Taylor's going to be there.
Yes. Or is it Alice Cooper? Or Alice Cooper will be there, right? They're Not Worthy. Was that the first one or the second one?
Alice Cooper was in the first one.
First one. There we go.
Yeah. No, Aerosmith and Pearl Jam, speaking of great American rock bands.
That's right.
Those were the headliners at Wayne Stock.
And then Chris Farley, or was that Airheads? He ripped the guy's nipple out. I can't remember that.
That's a good question. I feel like that was Wayne Stock. I don't know for sure, because I think in Airheads he just played like a cop.
Yeah, but
in Wayne's World 2, he was like the roadie.
Yeah. Now I gotta feel like I gotta go look up my Chris Farley facts now.
He's got no place else to go.
I got nowhere else to go. All right, Matt. Well, we did a buffet of things tonight. I appreciate your time. You can check out all of Matt Dolloff's stuff over at 985thesportshub.com and the Sports Hub Underground podcast with Ty Anderson. Matt, appreciate your time, and I'll get those Takis.
All right, thanks, Joe. This was fun. Appreciate it.
You got it. He's Matt Dolloff, everybody. Do you like Takis, guys?
Nah, not really.
I'm not trying to push the Takis on everybody, but now that you've mentioned it, I might use Takis as a breading. Like, I'll beat the crap out of some chicken, right? I'll flatten it out, get a little flour, egg, Takis, fry, air fry. That'd be spicy chicken right there.
You know what we do for fish sometimes, Joe, is the tostones, like the plantains.
Yes.
Crush those up, put them on fish.
I love. Oh, so you do it on fish?
Yeah. Those are really good on fish.
Yeah.
The tostones are great, though. Plantains, underrated.
I love plantains. Oh. All right, I posted the video, everybody, at Joey Murr. JoeyMurr on Twitter. You can follow me there. And I posted the video of myself and Street Team Joe, and we're eating big meatball subs. And they look so big because does Joe have does Joe's hands make the sub look bigger?
I think it's just the bread. It's some serious bread.
Bread was fantastic. Anyways, we'll go to the headline here. And Stephen A. is talking again. We'll hear what he had to say on the other side, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Essential Sports Hub headline presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Always. Red Sox won 3-1. Now they'll play Rafael Devers and the Giants. The LA Lakers got sold for $10 billion. I would do a lot for $10 billion. And the NBA Finals continues tomorrow night. Tyrese Halliburton might tap out. Headline.
the night.
I actually spoke with women today.
On the Sports Hub.
Oh, I'm just wondering about Stephon Diggs. You go from Josh Allen to C.J. Stroud to Drake May. You sure about that, bro? You sure? I mean, I just think it's a legitimate question to ask because no matter what you are as a receiver, it don't mean a damn thing if the quarterback can't get you the fool.
Try it again. Maybe you can smell it. You know, just like you can tell something's good by smelling it, right? Anyways, that was Stephen A. Smith. And I just, if we, you know how we have the next championship meter, Skez?
You sure about that, bro?
Yeah, you sure about that? Sure about that, bro?
You sure about that?
There it is. So, Josh Allen, C.J. Stroud, Drake May. If you had to pick 1, 2, 3, who are your quarterbacks, guys?
It's in the order you said it, Joe. It's Allen, Stroud, May. I mean, what are we doing?
So, Stephen A. has concerns about Stephon Diggs because of his quarterback. Is he right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess in that context, sure, but...
Can we hear it again? I need to know maybe there was context. Let's hear it one more time.
You sure about that, bro?
Well, I am sure. Well, I don't know.
I'm just wondering about Stephon Diggs. You go from Josh Allen to C.J. Stroud to Drake May. You sure about that, bro? You sure? I mean, I just think it's a legitimate question to ask because no matter what you are as a receiver, it don't mean a damn thing if the quarterback can't get you the fool.
So it's calling out Drake May.
I mean, I guess, but is it even really calling him out? Josh Allen's the MVP, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. C.J. Stroud had a historic rookie season. I think it's just
playoff QB.
Yeah. I think Stroud struggled a little bit in year 2. I think that's a legit concern for Drake May.
So basically, Stephen A. thinks Stephon Diggs' production might not be as great because he was working with an MVP, a great quarterback, or projected to be a great quarterback in C.J. Stroud, to Drake May, who has one career win with the Patriots.
Correct.
Sure about that,
bro.
You know what, though? Let's save that one. I think Drake May is going to be good because he's Drake May, and he's got athletic ability. And I think he does need to play that style where he needs to run. Now, I don't know about if he can take hits every night. I don't know. I don't know how durable he is, but I think he needs to play that way. I also think, though, I bring up Josh McDaniels a lot, but the thought of McDaniels and Stephon Diggs, I don't love it. I don't love the dynamic. We got the musings coming up in a bit, but Joey in Kingston's always got something for me. And what do you got tonight,
how you
Joe?
doing?
How you doing, bro?
How you doing?
Hey, I was in the South
So I'm
Shore.
sitting
I was
in
in
gazebo.
I was
I'm
in
just smoking a cigar.
Real quick, I was in Kingston
cold
this week.
drink.
I was in Kingston this week.
I'm sorry, brother?
I was in Kingston this week.
It's nice out. Finally, no more rain. It's kind of like a little muggy out, and so I'm just enjoying my nice cigar in my backyard.
Yeah.
But you mentioned earlier about that Mindhunter series on Netflix.
Yeah. Yep.
Great show, by the way.
Yep.
So I'm a little older than you. Back in college, I read this book, and I was telling Skaz, it was this guy, John Douglas. He wrote this book, and he was an FBI profiler, the first one. And he wrote this book, Mindhunter. It was actually pretty fascinating because he could, I don't know how he did it. He was like a magician or whatever you say. But he could look at a crime scene and he could tell like a person what their race was, their age was, like what car they were driving. Anyways, a movie was made out of it called Manhunter, and it came out in the 80s. And if you listen, ask Hardy about it. He considers it one of the best movies from the 80s. It starred, what's his name? Brian Cox played Hannibal Lecter. And by the way, the best Hannibal Lecter. And
not Silence
who's
of the
the
Lambs.
guy? Michael Peterson.
Yeah.
William Peterson from CSI played the Manhunter guy. Anyways, great movie, great soundtrack. Who was it that did it? The guy from I'm getting mixed up with my names here. Anyways, great movie. I highly recommend it.
Hey, real quick, Joey. I was in
Sure.
I was in Kingston this weekend.
Yeah.
I went to a place called Paisanos.
So, Joe, I moved down here, 25 years ago, and there was an original Paisanos. Used to go there all the time. It closed several years ago and became different things. So it's a new Paisanos. I have not tried it yet. So I've heard good things, but I have not tried the new one yet.
Yeah, Sarge got married, and it was at Indian Head, so.
That's what I heard last week.
Yeah.
Was it good?
I had a great time.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to try it then. I'm going to take your word for it.
So, dude, I sat at the bar. They have great seats. They're like baseball gloves, the seats. But the eggplant parm was fantastic.
Well, I'm going to go try it then.
Well, Andy
I don't think
Andy
the
Wong
inside
bought the whole
changed,
menu, so I tried everything. So,
Yeah.
yes, it was outstanding. Yes, it was very good.
Okay, I'm going to try it.
So I was in your hood.
Okay. Well, listen, next time you come down my hood, let me know. Let's hook up. Treats on me.
I'll say, hey, Joey from Kingston. I'm here.
Well, listen, Joe, the next time you come my hood, drinks are on the house, plus the meal.
You email me, Joe Murray at 985thesportsup.com, and I'll make it happen.
Will do, brother.
Thank you.
Good talking to you as always. Ian Scass.
You got it. Thank you. Serial killer talk, huh? Well, let's get to the musings. We'll do that next on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. More Joe Murray on the way. Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub. Paisley Media Group Station.
Sports Hub headlines presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox 3-1 winners today on the bat of Marcelo Meyer and, of course, Trevor Story and on the arm of Garrett Crochet. It was a great day for everybody. And the L.A. Lakers have been sold for $10 billion. Headlines brought to you by Cash's Law. Cash's Law, they specialize in helping those who have been injured, not only from a one-time incident, but from a lifetime of hard work and labor. Does that sound like you? Visit CashesLaw.com. I'm Joe Murray.
No matter where you go, you're always connected to Boston sports with the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Download it wherever you get your apps today.
You want a random take? Murray's got all sorts on stuff in the world unrelated to sports. So sit back, relax, and get your mind in the game and listen to the words of a grown man complaining.
All right, Murray's Musings here on the Sports Hub. Today is June 18th. My hedges were getting a little high. I'm not going to get on a ladder, Skaz, though, so no ladders for me. But I trimmed my hedges, and then to get rid of it all, I got my leaf blower, and I blew it all away. Some in the street. So am I supposed to rake it up and throw it away? Or do I just blow it away? What is your course of action when it comes to yard work, Skaz?
I don't have a ton of leaves, whatever you want to call them.
Well, you did landscaping, right?
Yeah.
What'd you guys do?
When you're landscaping, you bag them up and get them out of there.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm not about to bag it up. Nope.
Yeah, you just go over them with the lawnmower a couple times, Joe.
Well, that's what happened. Actually, what kept happening was the lawn was so thick that it would shut off my lawnmower, and I would be like, "Why is this thing keep happening?" No, it was a lot of rain over the last couple of weeks. You know,
a lot of rain, especially on the weekends.
Yes. So the rain, but you should have saw me. I was out there. I had a hedge cutter. I was cutting hedges. And then, the greatest thing's that leaf blower, man. Do you know what? Though? I want the leaf blower that blows out and sucks up.
You have the backpack one?
No, but I would do that. I think a blower and a sucker would be very, very, very useful. So, anyways, I felt good. I felt like I was putting energy into the right places. I'm going to make this quick, everybody. I try to stay out of things, specifically politics out, religion out. My musings the other night was I got drunk with a priest the other night. So, I mean, it's been a week for me. For those that know, I grew up in Hyde Park. The next town over was Dedham. And for those that know the Dedham courthouse area, essentially, there's the courthouse, there's a movie theater, there's Ron's Ice Cream, there's a Blue Ribbon Barbecue, and a CVS. There's not a lot going on in downtown Dedham, and well, today was an absolute concert. I had a lot of my friends now live in Dedham, and they thought that it was like Goodfellas with all the helicopters and everything like that, but there's been a pretty big case. In Skaz's case, he is ignorance is bliss. I've tried every once in a while to be like, hey, man, see what's going on here? And he's just like, I don't want to know. So I respect you for that, Skaz. I don't want to get into the weeds here. I'm not going to do that. But there was a verdict today. And all I could think of was Creed. Court is in session, a verdict is in. And I don't know why I went there, but that's where I went today. I'm not going to make any real comments on it because essentially those people are part of my age group. And some of my friends were friends with the deceased. And I don't really want to make a comment on it. But what I will say is this. The crowds were wild today. There was a quote after the verdict of not guilty that nobody fought harder for justice. And I do believe that the sad part in all of this is that a police officer is dead after an investigation went awry. One thing that the defendant's father said, thanked content people. This story obviously went viral on social. We couldn't get away from it. I know that there are other major trials that have happened, but I don't think we've ever been in a social media era. That case had a lot of science and actual evidence, multiple unbiased parties, but social media is what brought this situation to light. And I know sometimes in government, and again, please, I'm ignorant, I know nothing, but I do preach transparency. And I do think that social media was a big part of the verdict. And, the people bring up OJ trial. We watched court TV. We didn't have social media, right? All I'm trying to say is I do think social media helped this case, or helped get a final verdict. The collateral damage in this case, immense, of course. I'm glad it's over. Get ready for the books. Get ready for the movies. Get ready for the documentary. Get ready for the feds. But I'm glad we can put this behind us. And again, I just want to make note, a Boston police officer is no longer with us. That family is grieving. So I don't want to share any opinions on that. But I do think that as far as news and media, I've always said that Twitter or X is not a news source. It's not. I know we're on it. I know we get breaking news from it. I've brought this up before, but I was on the radio the night Kobe Bryant died. And when I tell you that I got this happened, that happened, that happened, that happened, I didn't run with a thing until it was official. And if I did, I would have been wrong about things. And I just wanted to say out loud that Twitter is not a news source. But in this case, I think social media brought transparency. So I'm glad it's over. I don't want to take any calls on it. We're not going to discuss it. But I feel like if I didn't at least talk about this, I wouldn't be doing my job. Moving on. I would like to talk about beer and chicken wings. I know you love those things, Cass. I love chicken wings. But Jordan Spieth over the weekend decided the only way to relax after the Oakmont and the U.S. Open was crushing beer and wings. Just two of my favorite things.
The stars, they're just like us, Joe.
Yeah, but I mean, do you think golfers are on a health plan?
Oh, big time nowadays, yeah.
Oh, really?
Tiger changed all that. Oh, yeah, they have.
So John Daly smoking and Arnold
not
Palmer.
too many John Dalys out. Now these guys travel with, chefs and physios and all that stuff, yeah.
I eat my feelings too, Skaz. Sometimes when I'm really in the dumps, pizza, calzone, pasta. Like the triple three-way. I'm going to eat a pizza, I'm going to get a calzone, and then I'm going to get pasta. And I'm going to eat the bread, and I'm going to eat my feelings. Now, wings, I think I could, if you gave me 36 wings in a bag, I think I could eat all 36. So I need to eat in 12, 12s. To be 12 for now.
A dozen at a time?
What I'm trying to say is if there's 36 in a bag, I might... You ever watch a dog eat? If you gave a dog an entire bag of food, they would eat the entire bag and then get sick.
I know Joe Murray's a big fan of watching dogs eat.
Oh, I love watching dogs eat.
Something I learned this week.
Yes, there's this guy on TikTok who makes like gets the food ready, preps it, salts it, rubs it, all that, then puts it in the oven, and the dogs just make noises the entire time, and I love watching it. It makes me feel good.
I wonder if you took the sounds from that video and the sounds from you and Street Team Joe eating the meatball subs, if in a blind watch, if you would able to identify which is
dog?
which.
Is it the dog or Joe?
Is it the dogs or the Joes?
Oh, we got ourselves a bit.
Might have to do a little recon on those two videos.
Is it the dogs or the Joes? Oh, yes.
Maybe tomorrow night you'll hear that.
Oh, yes. Why does back cracking make me feel good?
Sense of relief, maybe, or someone else is getting relief.
Yeah,
You're living vicariously through them.
Yeah, I watch these people that can't walk, and then they get it's called the ring dinger.
Pardon me?
The ring dinger. Speaking of rings, did you see Barkov going up to neighbors on their ring cameras with the
waking them up at 5 a.m? Imagine
if the Bruins just did that in the North End. They're just going up and down Hanover. Like, hey, we got the Stanley Cup. I'd go out in my skivvies.
Yeah, why not?
I've met the Stanley Cup. It's a great thing. I met the Stanley Cup at Doyle's in Jamaica Plain. The Chicago beat the Bruins, and John Torchetti, who was the coach or assistant coach, brought it to Doyle's where he grew up, and I got to meet it. So I have. Oh, and last night, did you see what I posted after the game? I sent an old photo of Lord Murray's cup.
Oh, yes. A very quick response from the Jeremy Conley on that one.
Jeremy was out.
Shaking his head.
It still exists, though. Lord Murray's cup, for those who don't know, I made a Stanley Cup out of Tupperware and what do you call that? Tinfoil.
I've seen it.
Did you sign it?
I saw it when it was in your basement.
Oh, that's right.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
And you're like, dude, it's Lord Murray's. I'm like, yeah.
I did not see it when it was here.
I still have Lord Murray's cup. I still have a bowling pin that somebody signed. I can't remember who signed it, but I was given it by the Sports Hub one day when we were moving out of Dorchester. Wow, man, I'm dropping the accent bad tonight. It's because I talked to my friends from home. That's what happened.
Want to know what I got when we moved out of Dorchester?
What's that?
Say we got nice pictures on the walls and stuff, and they were nice enough to toss our names in the hat.
Yeah.
I have a gigantic, Joe. It's huge. I can't even fit on a wall in my place. A signed Dennis Wideman jersey.
Oh, that's
Yes.
number 6?
Number 6. Big old Wideman jersey.
So
barely fit in my car.
I also won, and do you know who I have?
Who's this, Joe?
An unsigned giant Troy Brown.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, but it's
Brown,
unsigned. I thought it was autographed. I keep looking at the thing, and I'm like, where the hell's the autograph?
Yeah, just take the jersey out and wear it.
I thought about, well, it's not going to fit me, but I thought about taking the jersey out. And maybe right now I have a Josh Allen autograph. The Pelé, as our buddy Taylor Twellman likes to tell us. Pelé. I got a bunch of Gronks. I got a phone call about it. But we were talking about guys who played for the teams twice. For example, LeGarrette Blount won a championship, went to the Steelers, got released, came back to the Deion Branch had a second run. Dante Stallworth had a second run. Jamie Collins had a second run.
5 runs, it feels like.
Junior say I'm just thinking in my head like guys who just
LeBron.
Well, that's what it came down to. We found out the two best were LeBron and Mario Lemieux. But the best one's probably Lemieux because he beat cancer.
He never left the Penguins. Well, but he didn't change teams.
He retired.
Yes, yeah.
Anyways. What's today's date again?
Today's June 18th, Joe.
I feel like we got a big boy today.
You want a big boy off the top, Joe? It is someone's 83rd birthday today.
Paul McCartney.
It is Sir Paul's birthday today.
You know why? Because I brought up Chris Farley. Who went? And by the way, he ripped the nipples off in Airheads. For those that keep checking in.
Thank you for clarifying.
Remember when Chris Farley interviewed Paul McCartney on Saturday Night Live? You and the Beatles. It's cool. Yes, that was 83. Who's Isabella Rossellini?
I do not know.
She's 73. How about Blake Shelton? Do you know him?
Handsome fella.
I don't know him, though. Richard Madden is 39.
He was one of the Starks, right, in Game of Thrones?
Oh, yeah.
Was he Robb Stark, I
Robb.
think? Yeah.
How about Willa Holland, 34?
Not Erling Holland.
No.
No, then I don't know.
What else do we have today? I go to a couple of different sites for our birthdays. They don't always really hit well.
It is Evan Mobley's birthday today.
Great player.
Born in 2001, which I know is normal nowadays, but still shocking to say.
What year was Luke born?
Joe, I believe Luke was born in 2005. Which, yeah, that's a tough one. Tough one.
Well, I just taught him how to listen in cue on the board in there, so I think
we've been educating Luke this week. He's learning a lot off the air.
His mom makes great cookies. And just in case she's listening, I like brownies. I like cheesecake. I like banana bread.
Oh, banana bread, yes.
Oh, I love banana bread. Oh, the smell of banana bread, dude. Oh.
It's maybe controversial, Joe, but zucchini bread. Pretty good. I know it doesn't sound great, but it's pretty good.
Do I smell zucchini?
You don't, no. You don't even really taste it either.
So
it's good.
I have 8 zucchini, but it has to be cooked. I can't eat that raw.
Maybe I'll bring in a slice of zucchini bread for you sometime.
What's it smell like?
Bread.
Doesn't smell like zucchini.
No.
So, you ever smell broccoli?
Yes, Joe, I've smelled broccoli.
You ever had someone open up a top of a broccoli chicken?
Well, asparagus is real, yeah.
Stinks. Smells smelly, and you could smell it getting off the elevator. Here I am getting all mad. Anybody else's birthday today?
Joe, it is Martin St. Louis's birthday.
Martin St. Louis.
St. Louis. It is Robert Kraft's good friend Jeff Saturday's birthday today.
Oh, another center. Okay.
Sandy Alomar Jr.
Ooh, he's a pretty good catcher.
Joe, it is Darren Dizzy Reed's birthday today.
Okay.
He's from Guns N' Roses.
Yep. Dizzy, Duff, and Slash.
Bruce Smith's birthday today.
Ooh, Little Giants Bruce Smith, number 78 of the Bills.
Virginia Tech, yes.
I believe he was also in was he in that movie with Adam Sandler?
The Longest Yard? I don't know if I remember Michael Irvin.
Oh, yeah, he was in that.
It is the original Big Cat's birthday today, Joe. It is Andres Galarraga's birthday today.
Andres Galarraga. He was a part of a no-hitter that ref blew? No, an umpire blew?
Was that Jim Joyce or whatever? Or
was it the Rockies? It was
the Tigers, right? He was. Remember the perfect? Are you thinking of the perfect game?
Was that Andres Galarraga?
I don't remember. He feels a little old for that, but maybe.
I know. Maybe we're thinking of something similar, Skaz, but we're not putting it. We're not aligning the alignment.
Hall of Famer. George Mikan, Joe? Do the Mikan drills back in the day?
Yeah.
Hated those.
Martin St. Louis. All right, well, don't email me about Karen Reed. And don't call Skaz, because he doesn't care either. But I just wanted to say, social media was a big part of it, and I can only imagine what other events could happen with social media. That's all. It's over now. Yeah, it's over now. Hey, we got the final hour of the show here, Skaz. We'll do that next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening.
for Brad Marchand. We got that in there. Brad Marchand is a first ballot Hall of Famer and cemented it last night. Trade acquisitions that worked at the deadline and won a championship. Rafael Devers' debut. Are we at the Boston sports low right now? What else? The Red Sox offense. The hedge situation in betting. Oh, here's one, Skaz, that I didn't get to. I almost asked this to Matt Dolloff. Would you rather, can we play that for a second? Would you rather Mason Lowry or Matt Patra?
Like to keep, you're saying?
Next year.
Lowry, not even close. Yeah, I think Lowry has. I think he's got more potential. He's more the right build. I know he makes terrible mistakes and the plus minus and all that. I just think the ceiling with Lowry, I think there still is a high ceiling with him. He's a young kid, and you could say the same about Patra. I think he's too small. I think he's not durable enough. I think he could be a very good player in the league. It's kind of, when we talked about this a little bit, I think it was last night, but he's kind of in that, and Donato's, kind of turned it around, but in that mold of these smaller, skilled guys that the Bruins have tried to, integrate into the lineup in the past, whether it was a Spoon or a Donato. I'm trying to think of some other guys they've had who were smaller, skilled forwards that just couldn't quite stick in Boston. I think Patra's kind of in that mold, where Lowry, he looks the part. I know he's still, a little bit awkward at times out there, a lot of mistakes, but for me, I think Lowry has the higher ceiling for this Bruins team.
Okay. What team do they need more?
Well, they need everything, Joe. They need guys that can put the puck in the net. They need guys that can keep the puck out of the net. They need their goalie to have his head screwed on straight when the season starts and not be so worried about his contract and talking to the media all off season. Very quiet from Jeremy Swayman, I've noticed, which it's been quiet for everybody that is in the Panthers and the Oilers. But I think the Bruins need a lot. But if you're making me pick between Patra and Lowry, I would go with Lowry.
Okay. I wonder if that's what it comes down to this offseason. Are teams calling on Lowry or Patra? Just wanted to throw that in there. Let's see. What else do we have on the rundown tonight? We got Matt Dolloff, Stephen A. on Drake May. We did already. We didn't talk about Brad Marchand's payday. I think he's going to get 8.5 times 4. 8 times 4 is 32. So I think he's going to get like $32, $33 million. And if Justin earlier said he's going to retire, no. Could buy a lot of cookies, Luke. I could buy a lot of cookies with $30 million. To the man that just emailed me, who told me to eat a D. Sir, you spoke to me in a way that nobody does. So I would you did it by writing. I'm saying it over the air. No. No.
May I ask
the
reasoning?
You know the reason. Because people can't have a friendly conversation about things.
It was related to Murray's music.
Yes.
What a shock. No wonder I avoided that like the plague.
Yes, but you know what, though, Skaz? If somebody talked to you, like,
Well, people in real life don't talk that way, Joe. They just do it on the computer.
That's what I'm trying to say is, like, I've never had anybody say things to my face the way that this man said in an email.
And he wouldn't, Joe, if he was in person.
So I just wanted, if you're watching on YouTube, I don't let anybody speak to me like that. I don't care who you are, personally. Ooh. Remember the guy that said, hey, I should let the callers speak? And I said, all right, cool. Speak. Anyways, do we have anything else going on, Skaz? We got 32 minutes to go. Should we bring Luke in?
Let's get him in there.
You know what, Luke? Let's Get in here. We're going to take a break. We'll hit the headline. He's scared. Let's just bring him in. Let's see what he's got.
There headphones in there? Should
I'll get him headphones. All right, well, let's hit the headline. And we're going to bring in Luke Fitzpatrick.
The Fitz.
Luke around and find out. We'll do that next here on 98.5. just keeps getting better.
Joe Murray on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
That is the name of Luke Fitzpatrick, our intern from Ithaca College.
Not Central C, but continue.
He is from Belmont, Massachusetts. Did you go to Belmont High?
I did.
And then you went to Ithaca.
That's correct. That's where I currently go.
Oh, you currently go there.
I'll be a junior.
All right, so let me set this up. Ready? That's how we do it in radio. Back here on 98.5 The Sports Hub, I'm Joe Murray. Skaz is here. We got you till 11 o'clock tonight. I'd like to welcome in and introduce our intern this summer. His name is Luke Fitzpatrick. Hello, Luke.
Thank you, Joe. How are you?
I'm great. We are going to Luke around and find out right now. So, Luke, it sounds like you like baseball.
Big fan.
Did you play baseball?
I did.
What position did you play?
I was a pitcher.
What were your pitches?
Fastball, curveball, changeup. I had a slider, but it wasn't very good. My best pitch was my curveball, for sure.
Did you pitch in high school?
I did.
How did you do?
Well, if I'm being completely honest, I only played freshman and sophomore year because, A, COVID, and B, I never really liked my teammates, and all my friends in high school did track and field. Okay. So after COVID, I just did. You
are a JV All-Star.
Correct. All-Star might be generous.
You never played at the varsity level.
Correct.
Okay. But you did like baseball.
Correct. Still do.
And you did track and field too?
Yeah.
What did you do in track and field?
600, 400 on the long jump.
How fast do you run a 40-yard dash?
I've never run a 40-yard dash. Not very fast.
Okay. How tall are you?
I am roughly 6'1".
How much do you weigh?
170 pounds.
What is your sign?
Gemini.
Okay. What is the coolest part of your internship so far?
The coolest part of my internship so far? Wow,
I can answer this.
Please, guys.
Meeting Jared Carabas, of course.
That was pretty awesome. If he's listening, shout out to Jared Carabas. Massive fan.
I had to go in there with him and say, hey, Jared, this is Luke. He loves you, man. And I go, I'm going to have to get a picture for him because he's going to be too afraid to ask.
No, I would have asked. And
then the next time you came, you had him sign your jersey.
No, same time.
Oh, so you had him double dip.
Correct. Yep. I was greedy.
What do you love about Jared?
First off, I'm for the past 6+ years, literally have not missed an episode of Section 10. Shout out to the Section 10 podcast. Yep. I know they're like 3. I have spent far too many hours of my life listening to that show.
Who's your favorite?
So I got to start this off by saying I love them all. And my favorite is Coley. I think Coley's the funniest. If I could make Coley the general manager of the Red Sox right now, I would. Or the CBO, whatever they call it now. I agree with 85% of what Coley says on the show.
Oh.
And
Coley and I are from the same neighborhood.
Things on Twitter. Oh, is that right?
He's from Rosendale. I'm from Hyde Park.
There you go.
Night Show are big Coley guys. He's a Celtics guy.
Yeah. I love Coley. I obviously Jared as well is great. Waiting to meet Milliken.
What do you think of Milliken?
Milliken's funny.
Yeah, funny like how?
Like I would be the first to say.
Funny like definitely a clown.
Well, hold on. I'm in the minority.
Does he amuse you?
I think that they are a little bit too mean to him on Section 10. A little bit.
So you mean to tell me you think people are too mean to Tyler Milliken?
A little bit. I agree that he's a clown, and I agree that he does some pretty outrageous things.
What kind of outrageous things?
The
nipples for triples?
Nah, I wouldn't say that that's that outrageous. Like on Section 10, he referred to the oblique as the side body. I thought that was very funny.
Okay.
Never having heard of Pearl Harbor or something like that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Funny guy, Tyler Milliken.
Funny like a clown.
Sure.
Got it.
That's one way to put it. And then I met Steve in the last game, or the second to last game of the regular season in 2019 at Fenway.
So would you call yourself a fanboy?
Of Section 10? Yes.
I've gotten to a bunch of their podcasts.
Yeah, the live shows?
There was a live show at Kowloon one night.
That's awesome.
And they brought in the New York guys.
Is Kowloon good? I've never been to Kowloon.
Is Kowloon good? You've never been to Kowloon?
I've never been to Kowloon.
What's your favorite Chinese restaurant?
I don't eat Chinese a ton. I can't say I dine at Chinese restaurants.
What do you do?
I don't casually dine at Chinese
No.
restaurants.
What do you do? Like, what do you do?
Like in my free time?
What do you do?
Work out, listen to Section 10, watch the Red Sox, play video games, eat food. I'm a foodie.
What's your favorite food?
My favorite food is pasta.
Okay, like, is there a place that you go that you eat pasta that you would say, Joe, this is my favorite pasta place?
Yeah, I would tell you to go to Camellas in Belmont.
I know the owners.
Camellas is unbelievable. I've had that opinion for like 12 years.
Did you know that they played football at Boston College?
I did not know. The owners?
Greg played in a Super Bowl for
Did
the
not know
Giants,
that.
and JP played at Xaverian and Boston College.
I did not know that.
And they're my
That's
age.
cool. Yeah.
And their family started the business, and their pasta messes. The Swingin' Sammy's is my favorite pasta mess.
Yeah, my dad is big on the messes. Yeah. Messes are good.
So
Camellas, yep. Bertucci's. One of the earlier shows I had
Bertucci's?
Bertucci's on, and Bertucci's is good.
I get the best rolls.
Yeah, Bertucci's is good.
My Fiorella's.
Fiorella's is good. My parents definitely, that's their favorite, is Fiorella's. We get that probably. We haven't gotten it as much this summer, but we used to get it like every couple of weeks. Like my parents love Fiorella's.
Besides pasta, what do you like?
Sushi. Burritos.
Where do you get sushi from?
Where do I get?
An Asian restaurant, or is this?
Yeah, Genki-ya in Belmont.
I asked him. What did I ask him, Skess?
Hey, Joe, sushi and Chinese food, not the same.
No, definitely not the same, Joe.
Not the same.
No, not the same.
No.
Not the same.
Where else do you get sushi?
Well, Genki-ya.
I know exactly what it is.
I'm a fan of the Whole Foods sushi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Market Basket makes some sushi too.
Wegmans sushi's it's fine. Wegmans sushi's fine.
Okay.
There's a place on the Back Bay, Yamato too.
Okay.
These are free ads right here.
So
yeah.
you have places that
I just don't dine Chinese regularly.
That's fine. Where do you dine?
Where do I dine?
Because I know you're a college kid. So
at school?
In general. You have a lot of questions.
Well, at school it's mainly in the dining hall, or 99% of my meals are on campus.
Okay. What's your take on the Red Sox and the Rafael Devers move, and what's the next move?
I staunchly disagree with it. I am not a fan at all of...
Staunchly, huh?
Staunchly, yep. I'm not a fan at all of the way that it played out. I disagree with Craig Breslow. I think it is a result of two sides being unprofessional. However, that's my like 85%, 90% opinion. However, I will say that in Craig Breslow's tenure, I respect his conviction, and that's exactly what got Chaim Bloom fired. He's not afraid, like bringing in Crochet. That was a move that took a lot of conviction. Not necessarily a move that took a lot of conviction, but one that hit was bringing in Carlos Narvaez. The Chris Sale trade, obviously we're looking back on that. Not a good one in hindsight. That took a lot of conviction. So at the end of the day, he is doing exactly the opposite from what got Chaim Bloom fired. Maybe it's...
So you think that's a good thing?
I think there's levels to it. I think it borders on recklessness. I think the Devers trade is a little bit reckless. But I do think that in the future it can lead to better. Like the Crochet trade, in my opinion, is an absolute A++. They didn't have to give up any big leaguers. Everybody was saying they would have to trade Willie Abreu. They didn't trade Willie Abreu. They didn't trade Duran. They gave up Montgomery and Teal and two other minor leaguers. Chase Mydroth, who's been pretty good this season, and one other who I'm forgetting. But they only gave up one of the big four. And in my opinion, it was the one that I would have been willing to give up the most, which is Kyle Teal.
What bat are they going to acquire?
At the deadline or in the offseason? Or in general?
Whenever.
I've heard
You
talk.
have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
They're good questions, Joe. He's putting you on the spot.
How about the deadline, offseason, and trade? Just give me 3 names.
3 names? Okay. Let's go with Rhys Hoskins.
Okay.
Is one name. My number one answer for the offseason would be Kyle Tucker.
How do they do that?
How do they acquire Kyle? Well, Kyle Tucker will be a free agent.
So they would have to pay him.
Yeah.
And would there be loyalty if they did pay him?
I mean, they just paid Devers and didn't give him much loyalty.
That's my question to
Who knows? Wait, well, your question was who's the
My
big bat that they're
question
going to
was,
sign?
if somebody signs here, are they going to feel loyalty?
I don't know how anybody on the Red Sox can feel loyalty right now.
Well, that's why I'm asking you.
So the question is how much loyalty would they have? Very little.
Do you think people are going to sign here because of the loyalty issues?
Oh, I think it's definitely going to be a deterrent for signing with the Boston
Are they going to
Red
have
Sox.
to now pay a loyalty tax?
Quite possibly. Quite possibly. They're now going, if Alex Bregman opts out, they are going to have to severely overpay in order to retain him.
If you had your way, who should be the general manager and who should be the manager of the Red Sox?
Realistically, I would not choose Coley. I think I would probably choose Alex Cora for the general manager. I'm assuming you're saying GM as in like CBO.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I would move Cora there. The manager, I mean, there would be a lot of options for that.
So you're saying Cora CBO?
I think Cora should move to
Who would he hire as his
be an
manager?
executive like Brad Stevens? That would be, I would lean somebody along the lines of Dustin Pedroia, and then I had this thought today. Maybe this is going to be a freezing.
What has Pedroia done?
Well, I suppose, yeah, Pedroia hasn't been in the organization for a couple of years.
So why is he an option?
Well, first of all, former player Alex Cora is very similar to Cora.
What makes you think he's a good manager?
If Alex Cora is a good manager, I think Dustin Pedroia would be a good manager. He seems like he.
Yeah, but
he seems like he's a guy who would be a
Cora
player's
was on
manager.
the bench for a championship team.
And
what's Pedroia done?
He was a starter for 2 championship teams.
No, he's done zero managing or coaching. He's a bad option.
I would argue he coached a little bit in 2018, even though he wasn't.
Where?
On the Red Sox.
Really?
When he was injured.
Oh, he was coaching, huh?
Well, I think he played a role in their offense.
Give me another name besides Pedroia.
You're not. If you didn't like Pedroia, you're not going to like this one. But Rob Refsnyder.
Oh my God, dude!
He wants to retire and become a manager or get into coaching.
Can I give you a name?
Give me a name. You're going to say Jason Varitek?
Carlos Beltran.
Okay. How is that much different from Cora?
Cora would be the general manager. He gets to hire the manager he wants.
Okay.
Carlos Beltran only got fired because he got caught cheating.
Right up Alex Cora's
That's the same
wheelhouse.
thing with Alex Cora, yeah.
So there we go. Now you got the guy.
So aren't they very similar?
Beltran was very good with the Mets before he got fired.
Yeah, because he was cheating. Can we get a guy in here who doesn't cheat, Joe?
Well,
is that too much to ask?
Well, Skaz, we don't. No one has. What's your name then? What do you got? I gave you a name. I pushed back on his. You're pushing back on mine. Now what's yours?
I mean, I'll take Sam Fold. I'll take one of those guys. I'll take.
How about Ramon Vasquez?
I would.
How
be
about
fine with
Chad
Ramon
Tracy
Vasquez.
of the Worcester?
I don't have a problem with Ramon Vasquez, and I think there's worse ideas than Chad Tracy because he knows Anthony Meyer and Campbell so well.
What's David Ross? No, I do like Chad Tracy. That would be a guy.
What
I
is
would
David
go with.
Ross doing?
I don't know. Probably in the booth somewhere. Dustin Pedroia sucked too. I hated that guy.
All right, final thing. Your how many hits is Rafael Devers going to have this weekend?
This weekend, total hits?
Over, under 3.5.
Over. Way over. Way over.
Way over.
Way over. He's going to have a 3-hit night probably.
All right, Luke. We'll do more of this.
Joe, thank you for having me on.
Good job. You ask a lot of questions. You should be a reporter.
I need a lot of answers.
This hour of the sports has been brought to you by Valvoline and Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com to save 15% off your next drive through oil change at Valvoline and Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people. I'm Joe Murray. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Luke. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 7.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Joe Murray. On the way on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
For the best deal on tires, head to Town Fair Tire. We beat every competitor every day on every tire. Tire dealers, we beat them. Clubs, we beat them. Online prices, we